All right, there we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening if you're listening to this in the evening or whatever. Hey, Wooly, how you doing?
Doing all right. Not too bad. A little low energy because I had a cheat, and I'm currently fueled by Como pizza.
Oh, I like that. Wooly, you gotta wake up. It's a momentous day. I'm gonna skip right ahead to a piece of news. You could play Otogi 2 on the fucking Xbox One.
Oh, Jesus. That's a good. Yeah, they added 70 new games. They added a whole bunch to the backwards compat. I saw that. Fucking Otogi is good shit. That's good.
Otogi is free
That's
from
awesome.
its cursed prison on the original Xbox.
Now, if only the same could be said of other classic games, like, Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah.
There's much to discuss.
Oh
There's
man.
much to discuss.
Oh, this is. Oh no. Oh, let's just move on.
Yeah. Well, look,
Oh,
you played a lot of shit, so.
I played a lot of shit. So let's go with you first.
Oh, okay. All right. Then yeah, mine was pretty
Give
brief.
me time to compile my bullshit, basically.
Yeah, mine was pretty brief. I guess the biggest thing I can do is I'll just I hammered out Darkest Dungeon 2 and I beat it. And the and I also did a bunch of the like optional bosses, of which there are I think like either three or four.
What do you get for dealing with them in your run?
Big rewards. Really good rewards. And by good, I mean like mediocre, because mediocre rewards in Darkest Dungeon are amazing.
Okay.
And like barely like a normal reward is like +1 speed, +3 crit, So like amazing rewards are like +25% chance of anything, resistance, or like if you're really, really nuts, there's even like a +50 at one point, but it's like, holy fuck, good luck ever seeing that. You get big quirks, big payoffs in that way. Yeah, I mean, it's all the stuff I said before. The main thing is right now there's the first layer of the final boss is in the game. Once you hit the mountain.
I've seen what it looks like. It's not what I would have expected.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I mean, I feel like lore wise, the first boss is setting up what might be a very like, it might setting up a story that you're not sure how much of this is reality and how much of this is actually just concocted. Or someone telling you something. Like it becomes a little bit unclear, but we don't have enough details at this point. I'm sure they're gonna figure it out as the game goes on. But I mean, I'll say this: there are, now that I've done every type of run, and I've unlocked every type of class, and I've felt the synergies, and I've maxed out a few of the classes' different abilities that you can choose from. I feel as if there is a way to tell early on whether this run is going to have a crack at the mountain or not. And the biggest
FTL had that problem.
Really?
Do you ever play FTL?
For 2 seconds.
There were a couple upgrades that were a million times better than other upgrades. And if you got them within the first jump, like you saw the ability to buy them, you'd be like, okay, I might be able to take out the rebel ship because I think it was a drone upgrade or something like that. And if you didn't, you're like, maybe I'm not going to do it. And if you didn't see it by like the second one, you're like, I'm done. No, there's no chance.
Yeah. In this case, like you can get there's a couple of things that are early deciding factors. And there's also because of the lack of classes, unfortunately, there's less synergy to play with. I liked having different team varieties beforehand, and because you could choose you know, between, like, for example, like, you didn't just have the occultist or the plague doctor as your healer. The Vestal also had a lot to contribute in that regard, and the Vestal's inclusion allowed you to mix up a lot of your other things. But in this case, it feels as if the plague doctor is definitively the best choice for healing slot, which means like you're then locked into whoever plays best around that, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the kind of like. It reminds me a little bit of the Elden Ring thing where they said like, "Hey guys, nothing in this is final. All numbers and abilities are subject to change." And with Darkest Dungeon, like they're assuredly going to be going through like a dozen balance passes between now and the real game.
Well, so when you install it, there's also an experimental client that gets installed.
Oh yeah.
So you can, it's a bit like, so when Skullgirls was in the early days, there was always the Skullgirls mainline and then the experimental branch where they're testing out new shit. And you can go and play that and see whatever they're up to, in theory, you know, or whatever's like rolled out yet. It's almost, it's like the PTR, you know, in like a Overwatch when you'd be like, oh, let's go try out the new character or the new map or whatever. It's one of those things. So here they have a clearly labeled way to just try out new things. But yeah, the biggest deciding factor, and I think what also is just a general tip in whenever anyone decides to go back and take a crack at it, is your relationships should be your priority. Having everyone like each other is more important than whatever cool trinkets you can find, whatever gear you can stack up, whatever food you get, and I would arguably say whatever flame of hope you carry on the wagon.
Yeah.
The wagon flame is really important. You should try to keep it high. When it goes to 0, you get into unnecessary fights, but then you can rekindle it after that. But if you have everyone on your team in a relationship with each other, like I had like runs where everyone is yellow, you know?
Everybody's got everybody's back.
Yeah, everyone is amorous and hopeful and inseparable.
We're just taking a little wagon trip.
Yeah, and I got a fucking polycule going with like like a 3-way relationship between the characters, because you roll the dice on like whatever type of relationship they're gonna get. You don't know what it'll be, but you can get multiple amorous off the same person. You know, it's pretty funny. And so you go through it, and when you have that in place, you're constantly getting dual tech strikes. Saving blocks went from like major damage, stress heals, all these little great things. And like there's occasionally a bad one where if someone gets jealous, if like 2 lovers are there and like you kind of you heal the wrong person, they'd be like, hey, what about me, you know? But keeping that as a priority is my biggest tip, because it just smooths out the rest of the game. It makes everything more manageable.
In my limited time with it, I had a couple runs where everybody was shitting all over each other, and they were disastrous. And I had one run where all I got was the 2 frontliners became hopeful together, and it was a meteoric increase in like survivability and power.
Massive.
Random stress heals, like 30% of the time it would be a double attack. It was absolutely bananas.
And so when you have everybody on the team doing that constantly, and I think I had one of my team members had like a quirk that was like chatterbox, doesn't shut up. And then it was like they kept talking and saying things, but they kept proccing a bunch of these beneficial spells. It was like skills. It was amazing, you know? So yeah, that should be your priority going into the game. And like anytime you have a choice between like other stuff that'll knock the relationship or whatever, consider keeping it high. Spend your money at the inns to fix the relationships from going into the blue, you know? And like that was the biggest thing that like took it to the mountain each time, because by the time you get to the final boss, you're gonna lose people and everyone's gonna hate each other. Like you don't have the sustainability.
That's what good waffles do.
Hell yeah,
they stick together.
Yeah. But that's it. And nothing else to say for now except the final boss is like pretty rough. It's a challenge of your mechanics, and it's a cool idea. but like the whether or not it's like as interesting as DD1 remains to be seen. Like we'll just have to see where it goes, and because it's clearly like the story's far from done. This is just the early access, but for sure that's my tip, is if you want to even have a chance at that. Yeah, my like canon team at this point. By the way, the names can be changed of each character. Can? Yes, you not only can you edit it to type in whatever you want. There's a little dice next to the name, and you click that, and it'll re-roll a random name of that class. So,
okay.
The defaults that you see, I mean, yeah, Dismas, Audrey, Paracelsus, like all that stuff will show up as the default, but you can always re-roll it if you want to get a different name.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. The team I have the best synergy with that like is my main rollout is the Leper up front, Highwayman second slot, Grave Robber third, and then Plague Doctor fourth. I feel like that team synergy is like unbelievable together. Really, really good. Leper in particular is just like insane damage in one strike, but constantly has a 50-50 shot of missing. But then you can stack a bunch of milk-laden rags, which are like, they take away that self-debuff every turn. So every swing he does is just insane death's door damage. And then you basically use the others to support that. You have your Highwayman has like, you activate Riposte by doing the Duelist's Advance ability, and then like anytime something attacks you, or you can specifically put something on him so that he always forces aggro from whoever's attacking, and while you have Riposte on, gets free damage. And then you have your Grave Robber cleaning up the bodies and healing herself every time she does. And then the Plague Doctor's in the back, and you can buff up one of her preventative abilities to like de-stress everybody. And that on its own is just it's a self-management machine. It's wonderful. So yeah, that's my tips if you're trying to get there. And because it's also this short, like I also feel like I'm kind of done with it for now until they update it. Whereas with Darkest One,
that's a much healthier way of going about it than the way you did the last time.
I guess, but I also enjoyed the process, like I enjoyed the process of going back into Darkest One in a lot of different ways. But in this time it's like, yep, we did it. We got a bunch, and then I guess I'm kind of done for now. I prefer when it lasts longer, but of course this is all early access, right? So, I expect when the full version drops, it's going to hopefully dwarf the original in terms of just how many different adventures and things you can do. So there's that. Other thing I did this week was I watched Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I heard that movie is better than Eternals.
So we're gonna hate watch Eternals eventually, right? Punch Mom came over and was like, "Do you wanna see what would you want to go in?" And I was like, "Well, let's watch the one that I hear is good first, And
I'm free of this worry because like Paige is like completely disinterested in all the Marvel stuff unless it's got Rocket Raccoon in it.
Sure,
because she's madly in love with Rocket Raccoon.
Sure.
So I just get to go, I'm going to watch the garbage so I can complain about the garbage on my podcast.
It's a shame that they didn't drop Death in her canonical comic book form, because I feel like that would be a huge pop off for her. Because it's Skeleton Lady with big curves.
Right.
Anyway,
I don't follow.
Death in Marvel in the comics is skeleton face.
Okay, got it.
But the robes have a buxom, curvaceous shape to them.
Okay, but is it like a fake? Like, is it all skeleton under there, or is like she's got a big rib cage?
I don't really think you get a look at it. You kind of just, she's always roped up.
She's always got skull face, and then she's chased. She's got
and that's what Thanos is going for. But the curves are there. We don't know.
It's wild to me that like original Thanos, like they obviously changed it for the movies, but for like original Thanos being like, "Oh, please, mommy, step on me," like
simping for death.
Like, come on, dude. What a
Yeah.
loser.
So Shang-Chi, like I didn't, it's like full. I did not know anything about the character going in. That was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I know they're pulling something from the 70s or so, but yeah, I'm totally in the dark on the lore. In the end, I can say the movie's like, I enjoyed it, but it has very clear. It's still absolutely following the formula. The Marvel formula is alive and well and very, very strong and very
mandatory
in the in Shang-Chi. And I would say that the first act takes a while to get started. It lags in that in that way where your awkward protagonist is being a goofball before shit gets real, and you're like, we've done this many times. We know the goofball protag has to establish himself.
And then, oh no, it's serious because of someone to be dead or whatever.
And then the stuff starts going, and then it ends up being, fine. And there's stuff and it's enjoyable. There's definitely as well a feeling of like, what if Wakanda but Asian? That's there, where you're like, okay, this is gonna work. We can see how this works out.
You know who liked that idea? The average Chinese guy going into the movies.
Probably. Although I hear that currently
out in the mainland China.
But I hear that it's actually not released there yet due to like
seriously?
shit. Yeah.
Oh.
And like there's a whole problem with that. Because I was curious. I was like, yeah, how's that doing over there? Is it doing gangbusters? And apparently there's some shit that's leading to it being
So what's interesting about, you mentioned the first act dragging. I've personally have not seen the movie, so this is the second hand. And also, I am not Chinese, so this is third hand beyond that. But I follow a YouTube channel called Accented Cinema, which is a film student who's a Chinese immigrant who actually immigrated to Montreal before moving out west. And he does a lot of really fantastic video essays on the state of like Hong Kong cinema or Asian horror or whatever. And when he watched Shang-Chi, he described a problem that happens a lot, particularly with movies that feature Asian Americans. And the issue he had is that the first part of the movie, when he's in, I think it's San Francisco, it felt very true to life. It felt like a realistic portrayal of like a first or second generation Asian immigrant that had gone to San Fran. But once they go to China, the whole movie just fucking warps into, now you're going home. Your real home where you really belong. But you're still American, kinda. So, but this is where you're supposed, like, it's this worship.
So yes, right? That is totally a thing. But here's the thing, though. You can side skirt that, because when I say Wakanda but Asian, I really mean that, in that the going home part, but like it's even further, because whereas Wakanda is the amazing hidden city, in this case the homeland is literally another reality.
This is another dimension.
It's another dimension. So it's not even part of. It's not even like, oh, there's like a hidden place in this. It's like, no.
I gotta be real with you. When they have to go through like a magic invisibility portal to Wakanda, it felt that way too.
It does. It totally does. Well, it does feel like Wakanda is in another reality, and it is. But it's supposed to just be sitting there with the shield around it. But in this case, it is like, in lore, you are actually jumping through a portal, to
the mythical land.
To the mythical, exactly. And in the mythical land, you see the mythical beasts that look like, the like literally the large dragons and tigers and
your Kirin and your firebirds and whatnot.
Exactly. A Ninetales walks up casually, so that's the thing, is like, it's like that effect of like, no, but now you're home, but the home is technically not a real place, so I guess you can do that, right? It's like what if you wanted to have a big old like Viking history movie, or like returning to your Viking roots, but like they literally go to like Valhalla and not back to anywhere where real Norse mythology or Norse or like were or fought or took place, you know?
I have a quick question. I don't want a spoiler here, but like the main villain, he's a big name actor out in
Tony
China.
Leung.
I'm not personally Tony Leung. I'm not super familiar with him myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know that he's a big deal.
He's a hot daddy aged man.
100%. Yeah, I've seen him. I know what that's about. But so he's out in mainland mystical China, and I'm going to assume he's a supremacist and an isolationist, right? Like keep everything in here. Like what's the core like?
No,
is it a rule the world thing? Is it a crime thing? Is it a isolationist thing?
I don't think this is a spoiler, but it's like he's a very well-known Marvel villain. He's
no longer played by Ben Kingsley.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And he's doing what that guy does, which is, you know, it's the Mandarin. It's not a spoiler. He's the Mandarin.
It's just so weird to me because like the Black Panther like analogs to this are so bizarre, in which in one the American going back is the hero, and in the other they're the villain.
Yeah, in this case it's going back like to destroy kind of thing, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not about the Michael B. Jordan being like, you know, y'all abandoned us and now it's time
to shouldn't have killed him at the end of that movie. Oh man, I don't care what they have to do. Just have a new Michael B. Jordan just fall out of a portal. I don't give a shit.
It's just like, God damn it, why does he kind of have a point? You stuffy Wakandans literally went, nah, fuck this, we're leaving you to your own, you know, fucking devices, and we're backing out into our super portal to live our perfect lives. That shit sucks, bro. Yeah. Well, in this case, the excuse for the alternate reality is like they're busy. There's some stuff they got to do.
Okay, so, we're handling things over here.
We're doing stuff. We're not just going fuck all of y'all. We're out. Wakanda forever. It's shields up. You'll never see us again.
It's the thing you always have to do with once you establish. Wow, let's take a DC story. Superman exists in your universe, and then you're dealing with a situation where so and so has to save a bus full of kids. And the viewer goes, why doesn't Superman just fly down from a different movie and save the bus full of kids? And then the screenwriter leans over to you and goes, Superman was busy doing a fucking thing in space or some shit.
So this is taking place in your MCU universe, and it's quite clear that, like, you know, no one's worried about the small scale antics of whatever's happening here. And whatever big scale antics are here, like, no one can know about them because they're happening in a fucking alternate reality. So it's fine, you know. But anyway, yeah. But once you enter the second and third act, I think things pick up and get pretty good. And Tony Leung does an incredible job. In fact, he's like, I feel like he steals the movie, from Simu
A good
Liu
villain often steals the movie.
Yeah, and Awkwafina and everybody. Like, he fucking does a great job. He does the best job in you know.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna raise my hand because I feel very ignorant. Who did you say was in the movie?
Did I say did I Awkwafina?
That's a person?
Awkwafina's a person.
Not a water bottle?
It is also a person. It is. She's a comedian. She's had some comedy stuff.
How do you spell that?
AWK.
Oh, are you serious? That is an unfortunate coincidence.
As in awkward, but aqua Fina.
Oh my god. Now I feel awkward.
Yeah. It's a one name celebrity like Zendaya or Madonna, but it's Aquafina.
This up. Feel like a crazy person.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw her in the trailer. I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the gimmick name that's like intentionally chosen because it sounds like.
Oh, wait, hold on. It is a gimmick name because she's a rapper.
Yeah, sure.
That is not the name she was born with. She was born with a less water bottle based name. Okay,
no. It's that's her Hollywood name. Yes, that's. But she's choosing to be credited in movies and on TV.
All right.
As that gimmick name, you know, whereas like Dwayne Johnson switched it around to Dwayne Johnson pretty early on.
Can we agree that calling himself Dwayne Johnson was way better than that extremely long period of Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
I think like what was the movie there? The one with the fucking, all I remember is like dirt and a whip. The rundown.
The runback.
The runback. The rundown.
The runback is what we would have called it.
The outback.
You're thinking of the rundown.
The rundown.
Yeah, the rundown.
Well, anyway, I think he was walking tall. Walking tall, probably. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So she's credited as Aquafina. So that's what we're going with for now.
I'm in my mid-30s. I understand what the kids are talking about.
I don't know if you'd like her her comedy anyway, so you're fine. I think it'll be okay. You probably weren't missing much that would have made you chortle. It's a little different everyone's got different tastes. So but anyway, yeah, he does a great job, and they have their big like cool fights with the big CG and the rings and the stuff and the whatevers. And then there's some MCU cameos that are like, oh hey look, it's ba-da-da-da-da,
I saw a couple clips from the fight scenes in which it appeared that they were using the rings as an excuse to get people doing air combos.
Yeah, correct.
Which
totally.
I think is probably... I'm not familiar with the rings at all, but that seems like a really, really good use of that.
It's an excuse to do air combos, and it's an excuse to do super jumps, and it's an excuse to do, like, super jumps into, like, Terry Bogard power dunks, with the rings out. Yeah, totally a thing. At one point as well, like a bunch of like dragon scale weaponry and armor comes out, and it's like, I'm like, okay, Monster Hunter, let's see it, But anyway, yeah, it's I would say it's like. I enjoyed, like I said, I enjoyed the second and third halves, and I would say I wouldn't put it as mid. I'd say it's better than mid, but just realize that it's going to have a bit of a slow start, and and that's that. That's Shang-Chi, and it will clearly return. It's definitely this is MCU next phase setting up.
So does this set up a situation in which, like similarly to Doctor Strange did, where at the end of this Doctor Strange, the Benedict Cucumber Man looked at the camera and goes, "Now the MCU will have magicians."
No, not that. I mean, what it does do, it does two things. It does the thing where it's very clearly just like, all right, tiny adventures for tiny folks, and then like, oh, but the big leagues await you. Will you be ready to step up into them, Peter? But more importantly, what it does is with every fight scene and big explosive air combo thing and cool Michelle Yeoh, wind controlling moment, it erases the entirety of the Netflix MC universe from existence. The entirety of Iron Fist just gets wiped the fuck out by going that's
that's a big loss.
This is the real. This is the martial arts energy for the MCU
I
going
think the
forward.
only parts of that anybody really cared about was every character that wasn't the Iron Fist guy. I know a lot of people liked like Jessica and Luke.
Yeah, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Daredevil and Punisher. Yeah,
like I really like Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I think that's great, and I think John Bernthal as Punisher is one of those castings that they would, if they were to bring Punisher into the MCU, they would be like, "Hey, I'm John Punisher," and it's still John Bernthal.
For sure.
Wow, he is actually literally John Punisher.
I mean, like Jay Jonah, like you're just like, nope, this is him, no matter what reality we're in. But when it comes to Iron Fist, though, like a lot of what Iron Fist was going for, and its plot and the things that it covered, were all the same shit here. And this is just we're just doing it better. So this directly erases Iron Fist. You can feel it aggressively.
Oh well. I still remember when Iron Fist came out, people were like, wait, this is supposed to be the Kung Fu guy? All the fighting in this show sucks ass.
Yeah. It's, like if you're going to do this thing and you're going to go like, all right, he's the white guy that learns the Kung Fu and he goes to do it. It's like, all right, cool. Is he good at it? No. Is the choreography awesome? No. Then what are we doing here? Yeah.
When they were casting Punisher, right? They casted John Bernthal, which everybody had been familiar with Walking Dead and a couple of other roles. It's like, what does Frank Castle have to do? He has to be insanely, like, frothingly pissed off about his dead family, and he needs to be able to act like a big tough man that shoot the gun. We had all seen John Bernthal do those exact things, like, a year earlier. So it was like, okay, done. The guy who played the Iron Fist man, I don't even know his name. It's like he's supposed to be a decent actor and he's supposed to do martial arts good. And then it came out and it was like, oh no. That's not happening at all.
Not happening. And then I didn't fucking even see, or I didn't one lick of it, but then there was the team up season, where they were the Defenders. So
I was just told straight up, just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Well, anyway, this establishes what that was trying to, and does a better job of it, But yeah, and it's not perfect. There's some super like, oof, that's not funny. You held the camera too long for a punchline that's really not funny. But anyways,
some good old please clap energy.
Little bit of that. Is Awkwafina responsible for some of it? Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Because they're both kind of like the goofy, out of place protagonists a little bit, But ultimately, like I said, it works out. That's Shang-Chi, And then just, I guess, really, really briefly took a quick detour over on the channel back towards the battle construction vehicles.
Oh my god.
Because we're catching Reggie up. What was not known at the time.
He's caught up now.
He's catching up. So BCV, what we didn't do and what we didn't know was the full story mode is a fucking trip. It goes places and it gets wild, and I mean, a fucking dog named Shishio shows up that has its own BCV construction driving license, and that dog smokes its own pack of cigarettes. It smokes Newports, and it's just crossing its arms, and it's got like a scar, and it's one of the best BCV operators in all of Japan. It's kind of amazing. So we did get into fighting games, battle construction vehicles, and then it immediately transitioned into a full LP. So please look forward to your Dokapon and your Dark Souls sprinkled in with some episodes of Battle Construction Vehicles. We did it in one sitting, and it was a good time. It was a good time. It was exhausting to do a British voice or four for the entire night. It's the longest I've ever done a British accent for. And it was very, very tiring, but we did do it. So yeah, check that out. Not to mention, we also played that little furry fighter called Monster, with a bunch of hot furries in it. Lots of abs, lots of cool guys, big ears, fuzzy noses.
Hold on, let me take a look at this. So I'll weigh in on Monster
and they have
fighter.
They even got like the Adonis line. So you want to type in Monster 8105 graphics, because that's the creator. The name is
okay. Here it is. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, just the name Monster is going to get you lost.
A lot of. Okay, what do we got?
It'll show you a cool anime.
These are not high quality videos. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see what you're going with here.
Yeah, we played it actually one week. It's no reason for you to remember that.
Attractive furmans.
But yes, some big old Darkstalker rejected character energies, and yeah, no, it's pretty. It's stylish. It has lots of sigils. It's everything you want your little Dojin fighter to be, you know? So
I hate that I know exactly what you mean when you say it's got lots of sigils.
Oh, yeah. Non-stop gibberish English and sigils. But that was a good time, as well as we played some Ki Resonance, which is that ukiyo-e woodblock painting samurai game that looks like it's kind of like right off of a old school Japanese like scroll or views of Mount Fuji type of thing. So that's all cool. You can check that out over on Wooly Versus Twitch and on YouTube. Battle Construction Vehicles, I don't know how many episodes it'll be, but we go the full way. We learn the truth, and the hero's journey of Hayato Congo. Before we forget, Hayato Congo. Come on then. I was born in a construction vehicle.
Is that real? Is that true? Oh,
that's the intro. That's the intro.
I forgot.
He's running up a staircase and he's being chased. And it's like Batsu in the beginning of Rival Schools, but then like an old man on a giant tractor, a crane, like plows through the doorway and then like attacks him, and he jumps on it, and then he picks him up and he shows him the view of the city. And as he looks out over the city and sees all the construction sites, he goes, "You are the son of the great construction tiger, and only you have the energy to lead the crew and recreate your father's legacy. Look at all the construction out there. Behold the city and everything that could be yours."
I forgot if we actually talked about it when we first played it a million years ago, but like it's a formula that you can just substitute any task ever into, and it works every time.
I've said it constantly, but it is like whatever, like adjective, verb, character, wants to be the best, insert job / classification / whatever, like, and either you do it yourself or you've got a buddy, monster, robot, partner, friend, AI system to do it for you. And your dad was either the greatest or your grandfather is one of the greatest researchers or lab coat wearing professor guys.
It's absolutely fucked because like the formula works without modification at all. But what it does is it doesn't change the quality. It changes the tone of what you're doing, because it can be Pokemon Master, it can be
Monster Rancher,
Ghost Hunter, it can be
Metabot,
Mobster.
Yep.
Like it's this, like how many
it can be Hunter
crime things are, your father ran this place a certain way and he was the greatest. Isn't that literally what the fucking Godfather is about?
And I mean, in the same way that like every cartoon for a while in America was Mummies Alive. Like, normal kid trips into some adventure, becomes chosen one, and meets up with powerful friends and goes.
There's the leader, the girl, the nerd, the brute.
Yeah, the heavy. And like, you get all of that, but in Japan, it's like, yo, kid, you can be the greatest because it's in your blood, and go on an adventure where you leave home for a long time, and your mom is totally okay with it.
Like, my brain just auto-completed that this formula is the pilot for Dexter.
The murder
the
show?
Serial killer drama. Yes.
Wow. I want to be the best serial killer?
Unironically, his dad was a serial killer, and he taught him to be the best serial killer ever, but he's going to use it for good.
Okay. Time to leave home and meet the girl, and then go hang out on adventures as we beat other serial killers who
yes, that is literally the plot to Dexter.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, it is. It's like it is every single one of these fucking,
His dad was a cop? I don't understand the difference. What are you trying to say?
Well, anyways, all I know is, isn't there a new season of that where like he's like a woodsman that's all like getting back in the game?
I don't
know. Whatever. Battle construction vehicles, full LP. It's super worth it. It's super worth the journey. And like, the best part of BCV is when you're not actively playing it.
Oh.
Everything besides the gameplay. So come enjoy the full adventure, and the best accents we can muster up for a couple of hours.
Yeah, the best ones?
Brutal. Anyway.
You know what's great about doing bad British accents?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it only hurts the feelings of the British.
Yeah, sure. No, totally. and like, I realized too that like every time I have to do like a high pitched or like a girl accent with like a British voice, it always just turns back into no, that's too
100%.
low. It's like, oh no, your battle construction vehicle. Like,
it's come on,
it just turns back into fucking.
Why they gotta
Please,
talk like
sir,
that?
may I have some more?
Like they're not even real people.
You can't even.
Come on.
Nope. Just nothing to be done there. The River Thames. Yeah, so there you go. Woolly versus. Come check it out.
All right, let's see what I do. Let's see. There's a lot, so I'm gonna probably do it from least time to most time. So so the prize of many, Halo just came out this morning. Halo Infinite multiplayer just dropped.
The network test.
At like noon. No, it's the beta of the Halo network, Halo Infinite. But all your stuff will carry over to the full release, and they're selling a battle pass for it.
Oh wow, okay. So then, yeah, that's a release.
I woke up and I saw that John Halo Man's multiplayer was available, and I sprinted to download it. Well, I know I've talked about it on the podcast that I was there with Halo since day one, and I played all of them obsessively, and that I've been saying that Halo is like the greatest FPS series of all time. I've always said that.
It's true. He's always said that.
Thank you. So I was eager to hop on the Dorito wagon again. And yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's fun to play. It's fun.
You like it? You're enjoying it?
Yeah. Yes. I'm very much enjoying playing as the generic John Halo.
Damn.
In the multiplayer.
Do you enjoy it? How do you enjoy it even more than how much you loved all the last Halos?
I do I can categorically and unequivocally say that I absolutely enjoy the Halo Infinite multiplayer beta. It's not really beta, it's just out. much more than all of my former times with the Halos combined. It is excellent. I've hopped into the Halo, and then I saw an energy sword. They've added energy swords to this game.
That's new.
I don't know if you remember, but the enemies used to have them, but now you can have the energy sword in the map.
That's super new. That's crazy. I can't believe it took them so long.
I pointed it at a different Halo man, and I hit the right trigger, this one here, and I jumped forward and stabbed the man with the energy sword, and he died. And a nice robot man told me I did a good job.
Did you grapple hook into hammer swing?
Okay, so no. Let's I played it for 30 minutes. It literally finished downloading at 2:15, and I just scrambled to get some matches out before the beginning of the podcast. I did not find any grapple hooks. I don't know how to get them or where they would be. I did play with some of the new weapons. I can't speak much to its actual balance or something like that. It doesn't feel like Sprint's the game changer that it used to be, like back in, I want to say Reach when I played it, because your default movement is actually really fast. The Sprint does not feel that much faster, like in terms of just walking around. But more than anything is I was just kind of... What is my phone? I was astonished at like how slick the package is. Like, it has every potential PC option you would want. It runs immaculately. It feels incredible. Like, it is absolutely like a first-party A+ time in the oven kind of thing.
As far as PC options go? Absolutely.
But no, just in terms of general game feel. Okay. Like, it feels immaculate. And it looks... how do I phrase this? It looks like the most polished port of a 360 game that's ever hit the PC.
Okay.
It is definitely, at least in the multiplayer, not blowing you away with big graphics.
Okay.
It is instead solid, clean, runs incredibly well. Like,
okay.
I don't know how to...
Assets are not hyper realistic in detail.
No, it's not. It's like, I see a chat comment. Does it look like Halo 3 too? Yeah, kind of. It kind of looks like Halo 3 again, but with more frames and less aliasing. I really enjoyed it. I have been, despite the millions of hours I've put into the prior Halo games, when I loaded this Halo up, it turns out I've lost most of my skills and now suck shit at Halo.
No. Damn.
Terrible.
But you used to be like there's one of the sickest online Halo men.
You know, I used to think about going pro, but I decided that wouldn't have been fair.
Fucking damn. The Snapshot King.
Yeah.
Master Chief Keef.
Oh, I gotta say, speaking of, because it's using people's regular Xbox names, because you log into the Xbox even through the Steam client, and there's something about Xbox usernames that are just better than other platforms' usernames. They're awful. They're goddamn awful. And I love them. I fucking love them.
Yeah, I mean it's your audience, right? It's, you know, you got I think every ridiculous Game Kings or whatever it was called, Console Kings era naming convention that we used to make fun of.
Just great.
Was originating on the Xbox.
The only other thing that of note is that the Halo Infinite, the reason why I say it's just out, even though they're calling it a multiplayer beta, is that apparently the multiplayer is just free. Like, that's going to be what they're going with. is that
Cool.
Halo is a free multiplayer game from now on.
Did you make sure to bookend your name with X's and dashes?
No, I didn't have to because
Oh,
it uses
okay.
my screen name.
Okay. Daweed God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
All right.
they're doing a battle pass, right? Because of course they are. But apparently, I don't know how I managed to forget this because apparently it was the same as the Master Chief Collection. The battle pass is going to be, how do I put this? It's going to be infinite. Ha 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 ha. No. When you buy a battle pass, it never runs out. There's no time limit on it ever.
So it's a one-time purchase then.
It's a one-time purchase on it, and if a new battle pass comes out and you want to use that one, you would buy that one, and then you would switch to it and start earning on that new one. But you can switch back. You can switch back to the old one at any point.
So they're gonna sell you multiple, and you just choose which to turn on or off.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
As somebody who has dealt with battle passes in the battle pass. This is a much better solution than usual.
Well, it sounds like it's just normal battle pass system, except you get way more.
No time limit on it.
Yeah. So, all right.
Like I remember playing the Fortnite, and I wanted to get the final thing on the Fortnite battle pass. Or actually, let's use Destiny as a much better example. I was playing the Destiny, and I wanted to get the last thing on the battle pass because it was a fancy shiny. And I was like, oh no, I only have 2 weeks to go. So I have to grind out super hard to get the end of the battle pass on the Destiny to get the shiny. And then I got the shiny at the end of the battle pass at the last second. I did it. And then I never wanted to play Destiny again.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I was looking up the interview about the battle pass in Infinite, they straight up said, yeah, if you want to stop playing, we don't want you to feel pressure. Just go away and you can come back and it'll still be here for you. There's no worry.
How many matches were you able to get in half an hour, though?
I was able to, well, it's more like I started playing at 2:50 and I stopped at 2:51. So what was that, 36 minutes? I was able to mess around with the options and get into 3 matches. I played a Capture the Flag, I played a King of the Hill, and I played an Oddball. Which were fun. They were fun to play.
Okay. So I mean, it's interesting because like, yeah, you're gonna get that like PvP, I guess, experience and that's your thing. And if I ever take a look, I'm exclusively interested in the PvE elements since that's my Halo journey.
Well, that's in a couple weeks. That's the December 8th. But yeah, all in all, man, what a pleasant experience. And I have a lot of friends that are way into Halo that I'm probably going to play a shit ton of Halo with because the Halo is free now.
And it's an FPS that you can play with your controller as designed.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody asked mouse and keyboard and controller. I played with my controller, and trust me, the reason I was getting my ass kicked was not because of the controller, because I could probably tell that everybody else was using a controller. It was because I suck ass. It's because I'm no good at the Halo, which is such a shame. I spent so much time with that series.
Yeah, you get rusty, you don't keep up on it, and
you don't keep up with your
That's it.
But yeah, I'll have more thoughts on Halo next week after I put actual real time for it in it. Moving on, I played a bunch of the Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yes,
Did you put any?
I cleared space. I deleted idle things from my Switch, but I didn't want to delete Monster Hunter Rise, so I kept Rise and I installed SMT5, but I have not booted it yet.
Okay. I have been trying for days to figure out how to explain something, and I've kept having a thing where I would describe SMT5 in a certain way to people that had not played the game, and people would ask me what I meant and did not understand. and I would tell that same phrase to somebody who was playing it, and they went, "Oh yeah, I totally get it." So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a shot. SMT5 is filthy. It is a filthy, grimy, grungy game.
Okay.
It runs like garbage. It is highly aliased. The band playing the instruments did not tune their guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And like it is mean to you.
Okay.
It is so goddamn great. It is so the game that you should not have let the guy who only played Persona on your review staff review.
Okay.
And it is the anti-Persona.
Yeah. It's so what you're saying is that it's just inferiorly trying to copy what Persona has already perfected.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. The way that I phrased it, a little more depth, was that if Persona would be like a brand new iPod with like an iTunes gift card, like SMT5 is like your uncle's old vinyl player that somebody spilled a beer on.
Not even a Zune.
No.
Okay. All right.
Right? Like you can feel the dirt on it.
Now
and it
there
helps that like the whole area is like a sand. It's like an apocalyptic sand zone.
Now 4 had a bunch of dirt as well, but it was hard to tell how much of that dirt was SMT versus 3DS.
Yeah, so that was SMT. I still remember,
but it was very dirty.
When you idle on the main menu in SMT4, it's just the fucking guitar comes out and goes like it's just like struggling to play notes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's great. In a Persona game, let's make the direct comparison. You would spend maybe 5 hours before the game let you actually play the game. Because you have to
meet your friends, go to school.
You have to get your main character set up. You got to see the place you're going to hang out with. Mm-hmm. You got to go to school. You got to meet your friends. You have to have the character established with your friends.
Hit the velvet room. Make a deal.
You got to do the tutorial run of the dungeon, which is like the first 2 floors of the dungeon.
Wait for the crime to happen.
But it's not the real thing. And then they make you get certain things, and you learn how to make demons, whatever. In SMT5, you have the opening intro that says, God and the devil fought a lot. And then you go to school in the intro, and then you're in the class like Persona, and the very first thing you do is leave class, and you walk out of the school within 30 seconds of gaining control of your character.
It's good.
And you never go back.
It's good. It's very, very good. Yes.
You walk down the street and fall through a portal within 20 minutes, and you are in an apocalyptic biblical hellscape.
Very good.
For at least 10 hours, which is where I'm at.
Okay.
And in that apocalyptic hellscape, you get pretty hair and talk to demons who call you a dumbass.
You know,
and get insta-crit into game overs.
Hot take. All right. Everybody relax. Hot take coming through.
Let's hear it.
I'm starting to get a little bit tired of high school in Japan.
Well, that's because you're in your 30s, old man. Has nothing to do with that being the de facto protagonist state in almost all Japanese media.
The only setting that we can sell you media through. You know, and it's at the same time, there's definitely it's not lost on me how much I am coming from across the ocean to look at something aimed at high schoolers in Japan and going, you're not doing what I want. I mean, it is not lost on me that I'm some weird black guy from across the seas saying,
you're a
hey,
little bit culturally
stop
removed. I have to say, though, it does make sense from a cross-cultural standpoint, whereas from my perspective, school was the prison that I had to escape to get out into the quote-unquote real world where I was a free-acting individual,
mm-hmm.
whereas to many Japanese folks, high school is the last bastion of your personal freedom.
Yep, totally.
Unless you become a criminal, which leads into the Yakuza series. Criminals have infinite personal freedom.
Right. But your college years are
about prep for work.
Exactly. So you get to take a breather and just and drink with your friends and do shit, and then eventually you become a salary man, and then it's all lost.
So it's like this is one of those cross cultural things that's it just doesn't hit the same way.
But there's just, you know, when whenever you see that hallway of that high school classroom, like A1 and A2 or whatever, and you're like, this is every fucking visual novel. This is every...
That has its own problem because Japanese high schools were built to a plan.
Yeah,
nearly every Japanese high school is actually the same layout. And
that same shape with the courtyard in the middle and the gates
and the three floors and then the roof that's sealed off with the anti-suicide fence.
But it really is just like... There are other settings out there, and I remember like that moment of like, is P5 gonna do the not high school? And it's like, no, they're not. Yeah, I know, and they have their reasons not to. But yeah, that's cool because to be fair now, like I mean, like even before the 3-4 P3 P4 P5, like even in P2, you're running around a fucking high school. Multiple levels, multiple floors, getting into all those random battles for a while, you know?
Well, not in SMT5.
Yep. Good shit. Sounds good.
I spent way more time with fucking pretas and fucking Sugiyamas, I think they're called, just calling me a motherfucker for not giving them enough money.
Good.
Yeah, it's really hard, but it's not nearly as hard as SMT4.
How are your supporting cast that are not demons?
I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Wow.
I have had a total of 1.5 conversations with who I think is the law protagonist.
Damn. Wow. Okay. Because because for what it's worth, with 4, you meet the squad right away, you know,
and you hang out with them for a while, yeah,
and then you go, oh yeah, okay, I get it, you're this and you're that, and da 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 da, and then you go into the shit and never come back. But
no, this is very much like, hey man, do you want to fucking fuse some demons and fight your ass off in these big ass open world dungeons and do the gameplay and learn miracles so that you can, oh man, if your gauge is full, sometimes you'll get MP back and. Here's a skill you can learn that'll just add an extra fucking skill slot on your demons, and you're like, yeah.
Did you get press turned?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So SMT4 is great. Apparently, so is SMT4 Apocalypse. However, SMT4 might have gone a little too far in a few places. In that SMT4 has the unfortunate reality that the battle tutorial is a real battle that the tutorial text will just play over the first random battle in SMT4. It's not a mandated battle that they walk you through.
It's a real one.
Which allows for the SMT4 tutorial to load you into an ambush in which you get crit and your main character dies before you're able to have a turn, and then you have to restart the game and watch all the fight cutscenes again.
You're not allowed to play. What the fuck you think this is?
SMT4, for those you don't notice, it's possible to start that game and be unavoidably killed without player control.
You are not allowed to play. Fuck you. Get press turned.
That is no longer possible. They do give you a little baby fight to actually tell you how the buttons work that is controlled.
Okay.
So that you don't die. Yeah, dude, it's like everything about the game's presentation and feel is incredible. Like the demon negotiation music is just one guy doing a bass line.
Ooh, okay.
It's so laid back, but it's still kind of it's great. Also, the game does not shy away from saying, "Here's the first enemy," and you know when they tell you, "Hey, watch out for that enemy. That enemy's a big enemy. Maybe you'll want to come back later." They really, really mean it in SMT5. Like, there's a big guy that's stomping around, and I'm like, maybe I can beat him. And I load into the fight, and I'm level 6, and he's level 48. And I'm doing 1 damage per hit, and then he does a single move that, like, wipes the entire party by more than triple their health.
It's not a challenge to the hardcore. It's just an impossible feat.
It's just like, no, come back later. I told you. I told you to come back later. You should have listened. Yeah, I don't know what the game's story is as of yet. And
so you didn't get to meet the other person because you got the cool long hair, but you didn't meet the other dude with the shorter hair with the same suit.
Yeah, you meet him and then he touches your hand, and then he's your robot voice in your head, and that's like the first thing that happens.
Okay.
And he talks to you in your brain. He's your Burrows if you played 4.
Burrows, yeah.
Yeah, game's great. I love it. I love how filthy it is.
And you got nothing in the 10 hours or so.
I gotta go find the angels at the Tokyo Diet Building. I gotta ask them what's going on.
Damn, I wonder if things are gonna get political once you get there.
I don't think they will. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think the only politics anyone's interested in is fuck Lucifer or fuck God.
How's your demon team?
It's pretty good. I got Ibandatara on the team.
Nice, big hammer.
Every time I ever get a hold of the SMT game, it's always like a countdown to Ibandatara because he's always got Heatwave. And he fucking owns.
He's also one of the sickest designs too.
Oh, he's great. I love him. Let's see. And I also played a little bit of Elden Ring. And by a little bit, I mean I played that for the whole of last weekend, but I couldn't talk about it on last Monday because of embargo, which I'm now free of.
Okay.
Hey, that's a big Dark Souls.
Yeah. So there are you put out your video. I checked out what you did.
Thank you.
And then some other people put out their videos as well. And overall, I haven't looked at the extended network test footage, but I have looked at the compressed half hours of things, and the mechanics are all I can't believe how dense they went with this in bringing just about everything from all previous games into this.
Posture is in the game, but it's hidden.
Huh.
Posture for enemies is in the game. It's just associated with jump attacks and strong attacks.
Some things have power stancing, some things don't.
All things have power stancing.
Do they all have it? Okay.
That's the wildest thing. They brought back power stancing, and it's literally equip 2 of any weapon type that are the same.
Okay.
And it will go into the power stance moveset.
And weapon arts, of course, as a full mechanic that you switch up for infusions, all of that. One thing I'm seeing, and I'm wondering if this is as drastic as it appears, but that new block attack.
So guard counter is the name of that attack. I could not remember it in my original footage, but then I went back and checked.
That looks like a crutch that everyone will rely on forever for a long time.
It fucking rules.
Okay. If it's as good as it looks, and it knocks things down or breaks things open and does what it does, especially to bosses, and it's block first, then do this, and it's the best way to use your stamina for a riposte. It feels like you're just gonna do that all the time.
So, I mean, I could talk a lot more in depth about this, but the one thing that I want to mention is that obviously things are going to change because it's not final, so we don't know, right? They might tone down the damage of the guard counter, for example. There is a lot going on in terms of different viability. Magic is super strong. Faith, miracles are super strong. Like, they're very effective.
I heard miracles were even stronger than magic in this test.
It was.
Okay.
But it's unclear as to where all those miracles are going to be placed in the game and what you would start with. The dodge isn't quite as good as it would have been in Dark Souls, and the block is much better than we're used to. But the thing that I did not spend enough time with, that people discovered, is that jumping and jump attacks are actually really good.
Okay.
Like, jump attacks break poise a lot. Charge attacks break poise a lot and will knock enemies or bosses into stun states. And the thing that I really didn't get, that I saw some people doing videos of, is that the jump has invincibility on it like your roll.
Whoa.
And in fact, the whole way up on your jump, you're invincible.
Oh, that's huge.
Which means that they want you to be like a sweep is coming. They want you to jump through it and do a jump attack.
Sekiro.
Or DMC even.
Whoa. Iframes on your jump. Okay.
So like I couldn't like I ran into the mentality of I played the game like it was Dark Souls, and there's parts of it that I had much more trouble with because I was playing them like it was Dark Souls. And in the footage that you saw, if you saw my half-hour one, once I started to use the AI opponents that come in with you, and especially the guard counter, things just turned around like right away. And I in the longer term footage that I played, I got a better hold on like mounted attacks, particularly charged mounted attacks are really strong and do lots of posture damage. And then I'm watching people fight the dragon, which I had a lot of trouble with, and I magicked to death with lightning. And people are using like charged attacks off the horse and knocking the fucking dragon down for reports.
Yes, yeah, like I saw that.
It looks like there's a bunch of different like combat paths or features, and they're all doing something of value.
And like I just a week or two ago was like sprinting from Calamite fire bathing the ground attacks,
right?
And now I'm seeing like just double jump it with the horse.
Just double jump it with the horse, and then charge up a lance hit into the dragon, and maybe the dragon fall down.
Kablamzo. So that's, and like it's interesting because like rolling into the direction of the sweep is a Soulsian thing that we've done forever at this point. But like visually, when Sekiro introduced like jumping over sweeping attacks, it's more logical in a combative sense. Like,
yeah, it makes sense. It's a sweep. It's a wide thing. You get to see the start up, and so
get above it and then come back down, you know, as opposed to roll through it. Yeah, so that makes sense that they would like encourage that. I wonder if it has more invincibility than like a fast roll, you know? Because that would be like...
Maybe it does, but on a jump you would go straight up and you have no movement options.
Because I guess what I'm wondering is like, can you jump through a splat? You know?
Probably
a big overhead.
Not. Because it depends on the hitboxes, right? Because like boss hitboxes in that by that developer tend to be like enormous
massive
squares,
right,
that cover like the whole creature's body.
Because in the same way that you roll into a sweep and you get through it, like if a splat's coming down and you jump through it, you know, like that'd be kind of goofy. But if the hitbox is massive and you get crit afterwards, then that makes sense. Wow. Okay.
But yeah. So the network test has it looks like they grabbed everything from every game they've made since 2011 and tried to jam nearly every mechanic in there to some degree. To at least some level of effectiveness, and it's crazy. And then riding your horsey, or your goat, I guess it would be, fucking rules, and having a double jump on him lets you Skyrim up the sides of cliff faces. And just like, this part of the rock is technically... is kind of jutting out. I can stand on it.
When you're doing the 5-hit R1 swing, Are
Yeah.
you do you usually complete the combo?
No.
Okay, so you
Quite rarely.
Okay, because I'm wondering if does the last hit have extra damage or on it?
It does. I was able to find that out.
Okay.
I was able to hit one monster with the first hit and then miss 3 times and hit a second monster with the last hit. And it absolutely does a minuscule increase in damage.
Okay. It's not like an R2 or something.
No.
Yeah, all right.
But I also... So I spent about 15 hours with that network test. And then I cut together my footage, and then I recorded a new batch of footage, which is the 3-hour one. And upon finishing that and seeing other people's footage, I discovered that despite spending all that time in that area, there were 2 bosses I had completely missed. And then I ran some math on it, where the available playable area in the network test is approximately 1/3 of the region that it is taking place in, the Lingrave region.
Okay, which you said is like half
we-
Dark Dragon's Dogma.
Maybe that was a bit of an exaggeration, but the Lingrave area would absolutely be like Dragon's Dogma in its totality. So let's go and do a math. It'd be 1/3 of one region of 6 regions, which would be 1 out of 18-ish, which means the closed network test that I couldn't find everything in 12 hours is approximately 5% of the total game.
Wow. Okay.
So let's go ahead and do 5 times 12 is 20 times 12. Meaning on completionist it may be like up over 200.
It's always promising to know that, like, you know, the scale is at that size and this is so little of the percentage of what it's going to be. But knowing how empty worlds can be in giant open world settings, like, it's also about, like, the density and the fact that encounters are distinct from each other, you know?
Yeah, so, like, obviously that's going to change because, like, as you play, you'll get faster and faster as you actually know what you're doing. But, like, this is easily a 100-hour... Like, it's a Skyrim. It's a Breath of the Wild. It's a big motherfucking Dark Souls.
Did you...
all the way down to Dark Souls 3 bugs are still in the game. Like, it is absolutely the DS3 engine.
Did you go back and beat the, like, mounted motherfucker? Was it the Tree Sentinel or whatever?
I did.
Yeah, okay.
He is a joke on horseback.
Okay.
He is a complete joke.
What I saw from other videos is he's a joke if you stand on a high ledge and just magic him as well.
The AI tries really hard to get to you, and it does a pretty good job in most situations of managing to get to you, even if you think you're safe. But but in anything with an open area you're always gonna find some place they can't get, but they'll chase you to.
Okay, but when you're mounted, you can keep up with him and just avoid his shit.
When I was mounted and I was using my claymore that I started with, like, charge attacks would do like 1/15 of his health, and I would just run in, swing, and then he would start his animation, and I'm already gone.
Okay.
I had a situation where I pissed that guy off, and he chased me into a church and then started smashing the church down around me.
Yes,
Like,
I saw that.
pieces
So yeah,
were falling off.
exactly. So that's like that seems to be a scripted encounter if you happen to run in that direction, where then the pieces of the church fall down, and then you can use it to get to somewhere you couldn't before.
I don't think it is, because every boss in an open or semi-open environment destroys the arena around them.
Okay.
The dragon Agheel will knock over trees, and trees will burn and fall over depending on if he hits them with his body or that. When you're fighting Margit, which is the final boss of the network test, when he's moving around, he'll be like, there's a lot of spears in the ground, and he will just knock them right over.
Though that was a closed arena, though, I think.
Yeah, it was. But in that closed arena, there's lots of little destructible pieces.
Yeah.
Like, it's so silly because it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's obviously just a visual flourish. But fighting a boss and trashing the area that you're fighting the boss in fucking rules.
But
it feels great.
I think in the church specifically, you could then get somewhere that was otherwise locked off. In the video I was watching, like that's like I think you were able to then traverse where the broken, church parts were.
I had a situation where there's a statue I couldn't figure out how to get the shiny from within until a fucking giant hit me and broke the statue in the process, and then allowed me to get like 6 upgrade shards.
Cool.
Like, I talked so much about it in both the videos that I made that I feel like I should just give the floor to you and just like kind of ask me anything. Because all I wanted to bring today is like, yeah, jumping has iframes and all these mechanics are all kind of good.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot that like I feel like was answered by some of the footage I looked at, but I'm surprised that they're still so obsessed with a dungeon with a torch in your left hand. Like, they really like that idea.
Yeah, there's 2 dungeons in the network tests that are that. It's cool. And it also creates a situation where you necessarily have to change the way you're playing the game.
No blocking.
Like, considering how many times they've attempted that and failed, compared to how many times they've succeeded with, say, a poison swamp, which I guarantee you will be there.
Okay, what is the bonfire density like across the map?
So, if I were to beeline it straight to Margit, right? The direction the actual graces are pointing when you sit down at them, it would be the approximate distance in open world terms of a regular Dark Souls game. Right? So, the first grace to the second is very close, but then the second grace to the third one needs for you to go through like a little guard encampment, and then the next one is through an ambush. Like, they're definitely more plentiful than like a standard like level-based Dark Souls game, but it makes sense because you might not find them. Like, I was still finding them like pretty late into my time on the network test.
Okay.
Inside the actual what they're calling legacy dungeons, the Stormvale Castle, which is like a big fucking Dark Souls level, I encountered 0. Like, despite getting pretty deep into them. Okay. And in the little baby dungeons, I encountered 1 at the start of all of them and nothing else.
Okay, so wandering across the map, you're not going to see them like just kind of like equidistantly placed if you go.
You're not going to see them in most cases from each other.
Yeah, okay.
As for how to deal with death in the open world and boss death in particular, they have finally given a caveat to everyone, which is there is a new type of pseudo bonfire called a Shrine of Marika, which is just a checkpoint. So if you're getting your ass beat by Agheel, you can choose to respawn to the checkpoint, which happens to be right next to him.
So the other thing is, I noticed, you can go see like a caravan and get some items from them or whatever. And what I'm wondering is, like, there's mention of the fact that there's a day and night cycle, and then at night sometimes the wildlife like behaves more aggressive and shit. Does the game state actually change at nighttime if you return to like a certain area? Like, will you find different items in a
There's a boss that only appears at night.
Okay.
There's at least one boss that only appears at night. And the wildlife during the day is goats and eagles, and the wildlife during the night is like vampire bats.
Bats, yeah. So, like, clearing out a cave, during the day. If you
No,
go back at night.
it looks like interior spaces are going to be the interior spaces.
Okay.
And exterior spaces are going to be like the ones that'll be affected by the day-night cycle. Now, that obviously might change. There might be like, an NPC that only shows up in the castle at night or whatever. But in the network test, that seemed to be the case.
Okay. Because, yeah, if you have to consider the entire map in 2 cycles, like, that's a fucking lot,
Yeah, it's a lot.
for secrets.
Even in the network test, I didn't find the guy who shows up only at night until somebody told me about it.
Okay.
Just on some bridge, if you're there during the night, there's a boss there.
Did you meet your level up lady beyond that first cutscene?
No.
Okay.
She's already the best level up lady. Because you don't have to go see her. She comes to see you.
And then otherwise it's Bonfire Chan.
No, I mean, she shows up every time you go to level up. It's just she'll just show up.
She'll come to you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Any confirmation on like Arcane and it's like
It's luck.
it's just luck? Yeah. Okay.
It's luck, and it says that some spells will scale with it. So I would say that it's closest to Demon Souls luck, in which it's luck, but also there's just a couple things that work with it, and some of those couple things are probably going to be really good, like Blue Blood in Demon Souls.
Yeah, a couple of specific builds if you want to go for them, right? Okay. How many weapon types? How many new weapon types have you seen? Because I saw the dual bladed.
New weapon types, very few.
Okay.
They all pretty much like you could map them to existing types that already were around. So I mean, there's curved swords, the straight swords, there's bastard swords, there's an axe, there's a club, that and so on and so forth.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, it does seem like everyone's experience has just been like, holy shit, the scale of this thing, and like that, and I hope certainly that it doesn't end up, it doesn't end up being like the scale of this thing, but like this entire square mile is empty or uninteresting.
I did not, in areas that I thought were empty, turns out they weren't.
Okay.
Near a bonfire, in which I thought was a part of the map that was in fact actually completely empty, I was riding around and a tree started to talk to me.
Right. Huge changes to multiplayer in PvP I saw.
Yeah.
You now, by default, you cannot be invaded.
Yep.
So you have to basically opt in.
You have to opt into multiplayer.
Interesting.
And you've always had to opt into multiplayer, but now it's like really, really like, yeah. In addition, like the way that it works now is that because of this, you're going to be able to keep all your online stuff, like your bloodstains, your messages and whatnot, and still get all of that without having to like make your character weaker or turn your internet connection off. Like in Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1, buffing your character up with humanity or an ember or whatever would render you like available for invasions. So if you wanted to keep your online stuff but not get invaded, you have to forego that advantage.
Right. Or if you want to or even if you just want to play PvP, if you want to play co-op, you have to also allow the invasions in too. So I get the opt-in, opt-out there.
So for co-op, Iron Pineapple and Susie got a lot of footage of them playing co-op, and co-op in this game seems like nuts because it's easy to just meet up with the person you want to meet up with using the password, and then you go to the summoning pool, and then it's all it does is turn your horse off.
Okay, you have to roll together.
Yeah. And
So
I believe there's a max distance the two players can get from each other, which makes sense.
So I heard about the summoning pool thing, and it's like no matter where you put your sign down, it's going to like everyone will be grouped together. Like I didn't
So,
understand what that means.
It's there's the way to manually put your sign down like always.
Yeah.
Right? But there's also a thing that says just send my goddamn sign to the pool. And the pool, when you turn on multiplayer, just has like 10 summon signs like all stacked and grouped on top of each other. So there's a spot that goes, I want a co-op person for this boss. There will always be a summon sign right here.
So they're just preset places that
Yeah.
your sign will appear at
Yeah.
if you choose to go with the pool.
Yeah.
Okay, or you can manually keep it in the spot you're standing in.
Yeah, and that also applies to competitive summon signs. You can also send your competitive summon sign to the pool.
Okay.
So when you turn on multiplayer and go to the pool, you can see, well, here's 5 white signs and here's 3 red signs. I'll fight a guy. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. So it's quality of life for people who are mainly looking for the PvP experience or the co-op experience. And it seems like once you do co-op with somebody, like you can just do the whole map.
You can just go. It'll kick the person out when a boss gets killed, because right, and they go, "Good for you guys." But then you can just summon them right the fuck back in. It takes like a minute.
Wow.
And if one of you dies, obviously they'll need to be resummoned or what have you. But yeah, no. Susie and Iron Pineapple got tons of footage just running around the open world, fucking a boot.
Okay. Yeah. No. That looks cool. Not a ton more questions. And again, I'm not consuming all the footage I possibly can. I just wanted to get the mechanic stuff figured out, and I feel like I have. So, yeah. Right on.
Some of that's going to change. I cannot possibly imagine that jumping, giving you full body total invincibility all the way up on the jump is going to stay. I think they'll probably tone it down. And it was very, very clear that the spells and numbers you get in this network test are not final. Like there's a claw spell that the miracle guy starts with that I refuse to believe that will be actually the starting equipment of the Faith person. It's so strong.
Yeah, I saw that as an example of like an amazing Faith attack. Did you try each of the builds?
Yeah, I tried all of them to some degree. Shields have been re-emphasized. Like if you want to be a tank and be heavy, like they've given you a really good reason to use a shield. However, two-handing your regular melee weapon is also emphasized because you have easy access to your really good weapon skills.
Okay.
Spellcasting and incantations, which is the new name for miracles, were good. Using a bow was really easy to use, and also they have sleep arrows that turn enemies off for like 60 seconds. And when they're asleep, you can backstab them.
Yeah. Did you how many weapon art infusions did you find?
Like 7 or 8.
Wow. That's a lot.
And I found 3 for shields. One of which was the starting parry. One was a healing circle that also increases your defense. And the third was it was called Barricade, and it's the number one thing that I know is not going to make it into the game as is, because it is a little shield bop that's like a little boop, right, with your shield that makes your shield gray and magic-y looking. And it is the spell Great Magic Shield from Dark Souls 1.
Right.
But it costs 1/20th of your total mana. And it lasts for like over a minute. And I saw people fighting Margit with it, and they would just stand there and tank the whole combo.
Oh, wow.
And drop the shield for 1 second, and their stamina would be full.
Wow.
Like it's there's no way that's going to make it in as is. That's the strongest shield move they've ever had.
So like again, there's PvE balance and PvP balance, and
Yeah.
you know, like that's a fucking tough juggle.
So yeah, shields are good. Two-handing your weapon is good. Magic seems good. Arrows seem good. Power stancing. I played some PvP where I power stance some great swords. That felt awesome. Like
Okay.
everything's coming up Millhouse.
Fucking Hjem Dellerman, dual wielding Zweihanders.
Yeah, totally. That's always
Yeah.
been a
Yeah.
Dark Souls thing.
What I'm-
PvP is very different. It's a. So do you remember when you played any PvP in any of the Souls games? There's something called true combos, where if you hit the first hit on a straight sword, the second hit will always hit because of the way the stun works, and then you can roll out of it. There are no more true combos of any kind anymore. At all.
Okay.
If you get hit, it's because you let yourself get hit, and nothing is a real combo. If you got hit on the second swing, that's because you didn't move, or you tried to go for your own slower swing.
And you couldn't get away. And you didn't get away. So what I'm wondering about is if you're rocking a big old fucking Havel-ass set and you're slow, heavy boy.
Oh, Dark Souls 1 poise is back, by the way.
Yeah, I did.
The ability to fully power through hits has
swings.
returned.
So, but what I'm wondering is if you're a big, slow, heavy boy, can you still nimble jump out of the way of things? And
probably jumping did not seem to be affected by height. Rolling did.
Or equip load.
Why I say height? Yeah, by equip load.
Yeah. Okay, because if you have iframes and you're still nimble with that movement, then you still have a good roll, even though you're heavily encumbered.
Maybe they'll change that. It's not clear. In terms of stats, they've changed some things about the stats, and it's weird to talk about because it's so nitty-gritty. But they finally changed what strength and dex do into something that I'm really happy with.
Strength helps you carry shit.
Yeah, there's no longer a dedicated separate stat for equip load. It's, are you strong? Then you're strong. You can wear heavy shit.
So that means everyone is going big strength regardless, you know?
Except dex increases 3 things. Cast speed is faster with high dex. Fall damage is less with high dex. And it's harder to knock you off your horse with high dex.
Okay, that's smart. That's really smart because those are the two paths you generally take, and you can supplement if you go, you know, your faith and your intelligence. But like those key stats giving you extra incentives or extra bonuses, that's awesome. That's really smart. I like that.
If you want to run a magic horsey build, you will absolutely put points into dex.
I also saw...
And then intelligence and faith are exactly the same. It's like, do you want to do magic or do you want to do priesty stuff?
Or you know, if you want to do... And like, that's, again, you get a shot at being a good bow and arrow run is possible, you know? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. But horsey, of course, is just... it's applicable in certain areas.
Strong.
But applicable in certain areas. Only certain bosses.
Yeah, so last week when I'm like, I bet they won't let you use the horsey indoors. Guess what? I knew you couldn't use the horsey indoors.
Yeah.
You can't use the horsey indoors. That being said, the thing I would recommend, not necessarily my footage, though I think it's pretty good, but you should probably take a look at somebody's... Yeah, no, fuck it. Everyone who can hear this, go watch my 3-hour cut of the network test. It's on It's on Pat Stares at the YouTube channel or whatever. And the reason I say that is because a huge value or feeling or just improvement that's hard to explain is how liberating it is to go, what is that over there? I'm going to go check it out. And something cool was over there. Right? Like, it has changed the overall flow from a corridor or a dungeon crawl, which no matter how large the Souls games have been, even Sekiro, there are dungeon crawls. There's just a series of interconnected dungeons. To, what the fuck is that? And then you get closer to find out, oh, what the fuck is that? Ew. Gross. Is that an egg that just spits poison? Why does that exist? Is that the Dark Souls 3 crab? Literally the same ripped model with the same moveset? Yes, it is. So like
the
reuse is hilarious, dude. Like they are just gonna you are going to, you know how the Dreg enemy that has the flail sword attack, how that's been in every single fucking Souls game ever? You're gonna see a lot of that. I could not believe the crab from Dark Souls 3 is just dropped into the game. It's the same crab, has the same moves.
The Iron Pineapple video of the half-an-hour summary is really
probably the best one.
It's
Iron Pineapple deserves all the props in the world. I've been a big fan of his content for a really long time, and this is one of the best pieces of content he's ever made. Shout out to Iron Pineapple. Please follow me back on Twitter. I love you.
It's just the Elden Ring network test. What's the full title of this? I highly recommend it if you're gonna go look for a summary of like mechanics. I played Elden Ring for 30 hours. My thoughts, and it's really, really dense, and it really just gets all the major mechanical changes and improvements.
It's also short and comprehensive,
concise, excellent video. Yeah, Iron Pineapple, on YouTube, super solid on that. Yeah, big pimpin' with that. Quality shit.
I really, really hope this game does not get delayed again. Because, like, you know, you've seen people dive into the cut content of all the Souls games, and you get to find some of the development history in there. Like you go through the cut content of Dark Souls 3 and find out, oh wow, the final boss didn't even exist until 5 months before the game was finished. Right? And then they just slapped it together from what I think was like an NPC's armor. And you're like, wow, that's the final boss they came up with in like a couple months. That's really impressive. But
we made a room full of dragon butts.
Yeah. Well, that one you can see. That one you feel it. This seems like the first game they've made in a long, long time that they're not rushing to cut anything because of its scale. You remember Bloodborne coming out and you got the feeling of like, man, they barely got this out the door. Like the load times were insanely long. The load times
was the worst indicator because it was right in your face immediately.
The frame pacing was bad. And then you find out that there was lots of cut stuff in Bloodborne. I would very, very much like this game to come out solid, even if they got to delay it. But the network test is solid as shit. Though I will say,
the nature of development means there will be always a billion cut things, but yeah.
Well, I will say one thing about the network test, which is really funny. Some corners got cut making the network test.
Okay.
So there are some cut corners. In the fog wall that stops you from exploring the rest of the map is a bunch of square hitboxes. It's not like a contiguous line. It's like a bunch of square hitboxes of the same size that are just dropped into each other, so it's like a stair step.
Okay.
And there's like a couple parts where you can just walk through it and get to the whole rest of the map.
Oh, really? People got through?
Oh, yeah, they got through immediately.
Oh, shit. Because the one I saw was after Margit. It's just like there's a ladder you can't climb, right?
No, they got to the east part of the map that currently doesn't have a whole lot in it.
I was gonna say, is the game there? You know?
No.
Okay, all right.
And on top of that, there's a spot in the game where if you use the spyglass on the really far distance, the wrong LOD map comes in, and there's all sorts of weird shit that you're not supposed to be able to see because it's coming in on a bugged LOD map.
What did people see?
Well, I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's probably a spoiler.
Oh.
But it's the equivalent of a world state change that you're able to see a piece of because they have the wrong LOD loading in from super far distances.
Oh, fuck.
It's the equivalent of seeing the amygdalas if you looked at them from a far away enough spot.
Okay, or like the Bloodborne moon change.
Yeah, and you're like, and you're like, that's not supposed to be visible under any of these circumstances. Oops.
I mean, there's going to be some magnificent bugs coming out of this thing when the time comes. Like, it's going to be amazing.
Probably like a big spider or like an ant. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yep.
I'm big excited. What
Where can
I'm
people
not
see
as
that?
big excited is what this is going to do to my February, March, April schedule.
May. And
Well,
then,
I'm running. Okay, let's assume semi-complete playthrough is 80 to 100 hours, and I do a stream on average that's 6 hours long, with 5 of that being gameplay. Okay, let's do 120 divided by 5 is equal to 24 divided by 5 is equal to 5 weeks of nothing but, assuming I don't get horribly stuck.
Mm-hmm. And then comes DLC some point next year.
I don't think that's going to be that.
I think so. I imagine so. They dropped that not that long after launch.
That's true. That Sekiro DLC was really good.
Okay, well.
I had you for 1 second. I saw it in your face.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big old awesome time sink. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I guess I do want to say one last thing, and it's like, ironically enough, like, let's compare the Elder Scrolls to Dark Souls, because they came out at the same time. I don't know if you remember, Dark Souls 1 and Skyrim came out the same year, pretty close to each other. And there are a lot of people talking about which one they should get.
Wait,
and
was it Skyrim or Oblivion?
It was Skyrim.
Okay.
And those are both great games. And the most bizarre thing is that in the 10 years since that, we've gone through DS2, DS3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro. And now we're at the point where I'm running around in the network test fighting a dragon in a scene that looks like the cutscenes, like the ads for Skyrim.
What the experience was intended to be in
And
FMV form.
the week of the network test, the Elder Scrolls has continued in Skyrim.
Yeah.
There's a new Skyrim release that is Skyrim. And it's like, man, like, I still think back in the day that when I talked to people in 2011 that, like, it would be a hard choice on which game to recommend because they were both excellent. But, like, the distance that FromSoft has come since then, and
yeah, but one of them
Bethesda
actually
has not.
One of them actually has good combat.
Yeah.
So that's the one.
Except the other one's the biggest game ever.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And well, it was, hey, listen, the way that I broke it down for people back in 2011 is, do you want to fight shit or do you want to explore? And because Skyrim's Bethesda Games has made a huge career off of their one skill that nobody has the same as everybody is, hey, what's that over there? And like making skylines and like silhouettes of landscapes really appealing so that you want to walk over to them. That's why Skyrim is so much fun. It's literally because at any given point in the game world, you can look around and see something that is visually appealing to walk towards.
Hey, you see that mountain over there? It's part of the skybox. It's not real.
Yeah. Well, Elden Ring is now like caught up on that part of it, while also having a improved version of that good combat we all like. Right? It's. I saw people calling it. There's some meme that was going around like, "Don't call it Big Dark Souls, call it Death of the Wild."
Death of the Wild,
which like really got me because I'm like, all right, that's catchy.
Sure.
That's good. But it's not Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is a systemic, like, hey, what happens if I light this on fire game? Like, the reason why you said you watched a lot of people's half hours. You might have noticed a weirdly high amount of people saying the words Dragon's Dogma.
Not as much as I heard them just say like everything Souls or the gumbo, whatever. Like, yeah.
This, to people who really loved Dragon's Dogma, that is by far the closest analog. Okay. It's about wandering on open space in which everything wants to beat your ass.
But you can get your Estus back after you beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's a pretty slick fix to what if I just want to roam the open world for 3 hours when I run out of resources?
Suck. Yeah.
It's like, actually, no, you won't. Not if you don't suck.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing too is like, how dead does everything stay when you kill it before sitting down? Okay.
Until you sit down.
Okay.
And then I fought a Naruto lion. And I fought the dragon. I call it a Naruto lion because it's a white lion covered in chains with Chip Zanuff's arm blade on it.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And that thing died when I killed it. Like, it didn't come back.
Okay.
Plenty of those fuckers.
Yeah, by the way, like, it turns out that the remaster of Dark Souls 1 specifically has an issue with loading out zones when you get too far and repopulating enemies.
Oh yeah?
That can lead to apparently the DLC can crash or something if you fuck with that. But yeah, when you kill things in Blighttown and then run back to Firelink and then run up to the Berg and then back to Blighttown, Blighttown is repopulated.
Oh yeah.
So that's a weird issue happening specifically with DS1 now. Yeah.
That's a pretty rare use case. Without sitting at a bonfire the whole time, going all the way up and all the way back down?
Well, if Firelink is dead because you just got your Lautrec adventure going.
All right, yeah.
Then you experience the worst of it.
I have to say, do you remember getting to like the Sen's Fortress and you can see the wall of Anor Londo and you can see the Duke's Archives like just barely, right? And the game it's fudging a lot of the distances. But there's a real element of like, you see that building, the unique looking weirdo building, you can get there. I feel like this game is the actual like realization of that, because the gigantic castle that is like 10 kilometers away from you, like thousands of feet up, is actually totally reachable. And when I got there, I went and looked back at the starting area.
I mean, so like DS1, especially staring at it now, is like, it's pretty cool with that effect of like, oh yeah, look, that's the basin right beneath you as you're going to see Andre. But there are moments like the one you mentioned where you're in Anor Londo and you're looking up at like, oh yeah, that's the Duke's Archives up that hill. But then you walk to it and you're like, that's like 10 feet that way. Like, that's not up that hill at all.
Dark Souls 1 does a lot of great things for scale, but it definitely lies about the distances. They all do. All 1, 2, 3, they all lie about how far away shit is. And in this game, they can't. It has to be a real distance because you're walking the whole interim path.
Yeah.
It fucking owns.
Cool.
I had so much goddamn fun, and I barely scratched the surface.
Where can they see that fun?
They can go and, in February, they'll be able to go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt, where I'll be beating the whole game, and it'll be the best one. But as of right now, if you want to go see 4K footage in the 60 FPS of both my short impressions and a much longer walkthrough of the network test, you can go to youtube.com/PatStaresAt. And one last thing to talk about, Wooly, specifically to you, not even for the audience, really. I discovered the joys of editing in 4K last weekend. Wow, that sucks ass.
Was your editor able to handle that footage?
No.
Oh, how about that? Not many can.
It was able to render it.
Yeah.
And it was able to edit it.
Yeah.
But it was not able to preview it. So what I would have to do is I like to use Sony Vegas. I would have to select a clip of about 10 seconds long, and I think it's Shift B to pre-render just that in just the preview.
Yes.
And then I would be able to do it. And then the sound desynced at the 2 hour and 15-minute mark.
Sure did.
So I had to track down the specific instant that it desynced and then resync the whole thing manually. Wow. That sucks ass.
Honestly, everything is having a hard time with 4K for as far as editing goes right now. Like, even Premiere's suffering. You probably, like hand-breaking a bunch of shit will save you, but if you've got the hours it might take, depending on what your computer is doing, it's brutal. It's brutal.
And people were asking me, like, hey, dude, are you going to put up the 4K footage when you do the LP? I'm like, no, I'm just going to export the Twitch VODs, man. It's like... I was putting out 4K footage because I had embargoed hours of content that only like 20 people got a hold of. Yeah, I'm going to throw it up in 4K. I have to pre-record it anyway, right? I couldn't do it live. But like, fuck, 4K is big. The final file is 150 gigs.
It's not like there's any giant glowing things in the background that might crush your bitrate to fuck as you get close to them. Those Erd trees, I don't know what it's like when you get near them, but I feel like that would just annihilate, you know.
Didn't have much
footage.
problem with it myself, but
okay. Well, anyway, just one other thing that comes to mind.
If I ever do 4K footage again, guys, I'm going to record 1080p and then render it in 4K.
Oh, you upscale. Yeah.
Well, you can do that quite easily. Just set your editor to render it in 4K, so it's a 4K video file, and then when you put it on YouTube, it'll give you the 4K bitrate, even though it's a 1080p like raw.
Record in 360p and use AI upscaling like the sprite smoother in KOF Reboot. And use that on your footage.
Wooly, I don't know if that was intentional, but funny that you mentioned that. Because that's part of the news this week.
All right, hold that thought. I also want to, apropos of not Elden Ring talk, give a shout out over here to the Clemps put up a video as well, taking a look at damn it, what's it? Not Luma. Fuga. And I was interested because, like iPatcha told me about it, and it's that CyberConnect game that like looks like you've got the big metal slug with the kids in it, the little furry kids. And Clem's
it's their first real video game in 28 years.
But yeah, I was interested in it, you know, ever since I heard about what it was, and I heard about like the proposition of what it asks, and I was curious to take a peek at it, and I just didn't get around to it. And then with perfect timing, Clem's dropped a video being like, "Hey, yo, check this thing out. Here's a little breakdown of it. I would like to direct your attention towards that video, and see if it strikes your fancy." I don't know if I'm gonna like the game or not, but it looks interesting, and I like Metal Slug style tanks falling apart as they roll across the screen, and they're all on different layers. Like the top cannon and the body and the wheels and the treads are all shaking, like sprites bouncing on top of each other. I love that aesthetic, so I'm curious to check that out, and check that video.
Before we move off, I have a shout of my own of a new channel that I found in response to Elden Ring. But if you're not familiar and you like to see like development or bug or what have you dives into games, particularly the Souls games, there's a lady who has a channel called Zullie the Witch. That's Zullie the Witch. She just put up a great video 4 hours ago where basically she's been figuring out how FromSoft codes their mounted characters, and how usually they just bullshit it, and the horse and the person on them is a single NPC.
Okay.
As well as the attempts that they've made to glue NPCs together to make more complicated animation sets. and has been testing out, like, is the player on the horse, or are they switching to a combined model, or
Is this
are
a human
enemies?
centipede?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Her channel's great. I was like in bed watching they're all like minute-long clips of just like, let's zoom in on this character and remove the fire effect off of them in dev mode and see what the person actually looks like.
Interesting.
Let's go to like a development view of the skybox of Earthen Peak while you're going up the elevator and see what happens to the skybox.
Oh, yeah.
You know, shit like that.
Okay. That's interesting.
Her channel's fantastic.
What actually fucking happens? Where does the lava come from?
It just switches the whole skybox.
It's
just a complete goddamn bullshit.
Reality elevator. Okay. Cool. There you go. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors.
Let's do that. And then after that, we can take a quick break.
Okay. This week, Castle Super Beast is brought to you by DoorDash, who bring you food and keep you alive.
Bring me the food, DoorDash. Give me the food. I'm hungry.
Bring you the food. They keep you alive. You need to stay alive in order to listen to podcasts. So you should get your DoorDash food to keep you alive for podcasting, listening. That's very important. Yes.
I want food.
Number one reason to eat food. Also, like, having choices of, if you want to keep, if you want to get some different flavors around, if you want to mix it up a little bit, grab some of the local go-tos, whatever chains nearby you like to rely on, they can get that coming your way. Not to mention, of course, household essentials. If you need some toilet paper or some toothpaste, you can get that kind of stuff delivered as well. Grocery list even, all deliverable with DoorDash. And of course, you can get that dropped off with the no contact delivery. So ding dong, open your door, there it is. You know how it is. In talking sheer numbers, 300,000 partners to choose from as well, ever increasing. So get the app and take a look. It's the best way it's the easiest way to eat. And when you eat, you live, and when you live, you can listen to a podcast.
You can just listen to podcasts at all times while eating.
But it's better. You can. It's better when you're alive, though.
It's better when you're alive and your stomach is like full of like what I would call tummy num-nums.
So for a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and zero delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code CASTLE2021. That's 25% off up to a $10 value and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code CASTLE2021. Thanks, DoorDash.
Thanks, DoorDash.
And this week we're also sponsored by Manly Bands. As we know, there's many and much ado about getting engaged and what to get and how to do it. And if you don't know what you're doing, if you're trying to figure out what to buy and you got a lot of things to worry about, you got cut, clarity, carats, color, all that nonsense. You're like, what am I? You might forget while you're trying to figure out what to buy for your proposal about what you're going to wear for yourself.
Maybe if I had gotten a band from Manly Bands, I would not have destroyed my ring in the bathroom door.
That's it. You need durability. You need some good strength. I mean, should you be slamming bathroom doors that hard? Probably not.
It was a mistake.
Was it?
Yeah.
Damn. It wasn't.
I had to get away from the smell I left in there. All right. It was a hurry.
Are you
I
sure
needed to steal it away.
Are you sure it wasn't a ring of rare sacrifice?
It was not.
Or favor and protection, and you took it off.
I would never take off a FAP ring.
Well, I'll tell you what. You can't necessarily get the stats you would in real life with these rings. But manly bands is the next best thing. You can get yourself all kinds of... If you were going to get stats off of a ring in real life, I would have you believe that a meteorite ring made of meteorite would probably offer some stats.
The only time I could ever think of you actually getting stats from your ring is that if you had a pure silver ring that was not treated correctly, because then you would get the status of poisoned.
That is possible.
And your skin would turn blue.
Silver poisoning, no good.
Yeah.
Like that one guy turned blue completely.
Yeah.
But that you still have your options. You got carbon fiber as a possibility. Damascus steel. Are you familiar with Damascus steel?
I thought that was like a fantasy thing.
No, it's real. In fact, like I got some Damascus steel right here. And it is steel that has a fancy kind of pattern on it that looks all pretty. Almost like it has like wood, like oak kind of circles. And it's pretty looking. You got those options, not to mention wood, antler, I think Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel. And again, you want to get stats on your ring, dinosaur bone. If you want a ring made of fucking dinosaur bone, Manly Bands has you covered.
I don't know. Hey, listen, I already got like a wedding ring. It's being repaired, right? But like, can I just get some dinosaur bone?
You can absolutely get some dinosaur bone.
Because I could go for some dinosaur bone, man.
And it increases your dinosaur stat.
Dude, that's my favorite stat.
What does it do? I don't know. Get it higher.
+3 to dino. -1 to soar.
Something might happen if you get that number high enough. So you can get started. Go to manlybands.com/superbeast. If you don't know your size, they can set you up. They got a manly ring sizer. Includes 26 plastic rings. And they have whole and half sizes, so you just kind of put it on and figure out from 5 all the way up to size 20 where you fit. And if you're feeling more creative, you can customize your band from scratch, choose your style, material, inlay, sleeve, engraving, and finish. And you can shop with confidence because they got a free warranty, 30-day exchange policy. They ship their rings for free worldwide, and they have a free silicone band. On top of that, there's a huge sale right now through Cyber Monday where you're getting 25% off your Manly Band. So whether it's your first band or an upgrade, that's a hell of a way to put it. Whether it's your first band or an upgrade, go to manlybands. Oh, I guess you can just upgrade regularly.
People get their rings upgraded.
No, I guess. Yeah, no, that's true. All right, fine. I was inferring.
Wait, you were thinking
more.
like, oh, the new wife is the upgrade.
The upgrade, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, that's cold. Why would you go there?
Well, because like the regular first band, well, it feels like the band would be the sentimental value. But you know, if you do want to get that upgrade, if it's fallen apart or if you slam a bathroom door on it, then yeah, you're gonna need to get an upgrade. So, manlybands.com/superbeast. Or use promo code SUPERBEAST to get 25% off now through Cyber Monday. That's 25% off at manlybands.com/superbeast. Or use promo code SUPERBEAST. And
Thanks, Manly Band.
Thank you, Manly Bands. Nothing about the divorce rates this time.
Yeah.
Yay.
You know what I'm just thinking? You should, if you get like the dinosaur bone ring and the meteorite ring, you should not let them touch.
Oh.
That's a bad history.
Damn. Yo, power of the creator in one hand, power of the destroyer in the other. You're Dormammu. That's wild. I like that.
Yeah.
That's sick. Embrace chaos. Okay. Bathroom.
I gotta pee.
And then BRB. Okie doke. This week in the news. Well, let's start at the end, shall we?
Okay.
Rockstar has
that.
pulled Grand Theft Auto the Trilogy Definitive Edition from PC sales.
But why?
Because there were files that were unintentionally included, according to the update as of yesterday.
But what kind of files?
Well, it seems that some of the files that were at the root of the problem were probably GTA.exe and whatever else was compiled into it, because there are significant issues that are arising, and lots of footage of some of these issues has been spreading and creating what one might call a giga clusterfuck.
I can say that. I have a quick addendum. I can confirm that the reason why they pulled it down had nothing to do with what you're seeing with the giga clusterfuck. In fact, the GTA on the PC version was brought down for a multitude of reasons, such as the launcher doesn't work at all. They accidentally left most of the music they were supposed to cut in the game, as well as in the game's code, the notes from Rockstar North dating back to its development in the margins. And hot coffee.
So hot coffee
was
of course
bafflingly still in.
So you know what I realized in some of this news coverage has been that we are now so far removed from hot coffee that a fuck ton of people don't know what hot coffee is because they're too young.
Oh yeah. Well, you see, back in the day, a PS2 game called San Andreas came out, and you could use cheat codes to access a version of the game where you would date a girl, and you would take the girl back to your house, and you would fuck the girl. And I don't even remember if there was like implied nudity or real nudity or whatever.
On. It was close on.
They didn't change everybody the model. Fucking lost their shit, and the Rockstar got in trouble, and then the game's rating got changed while it had hot coffee in it.
Yeah.
And then it got re-released, and it was a big thing. And I'm like, I've seen more graphic sex in the opening cutscene to Witcher 2.
So the thing that was the reason why it was such a clusterfuck was not just because it was like, oh, there was explicit material, but it was that like they attempted to hide that, but it was still in the game. It was still in the code. They just basically, like a modder could, hit it, basically unlock it with a single switch.
Yeah, what happened is that the PC version, you had to change a number from like 0 to 1 to turn it on, and then the shitstorm happened, and then it became discovered that there was a way to cheat code it out in the console versions.
Right. And then, when I think of like the times when the dildo duty on Hitman was a thing, right? Find, not Hitman, Deus Ex, excuse me, where it was go find every dildo and make sure it's removed from the game. And then there was one that was hidden behind a destructible wall in the sewers, It's like, yeah, so if you leave the asset in place and there is a way for someone to access it, then your game rating has to reflect that. That's essentially what the hot coffee controversy was about.
That being said, like the anger was the GTA game for kids has sex in it, to which anyone who had a brain went, "This game is not for kids, you stupid motherfuckers."
But every kid is asking their mom for it, therefore it's for kids. Yeah,
because San Andreas owns.
Same thing for like Call of Duty and every other popular main thing. It's like, yeah, but if it gets popular enough, it's for kids because it's popular and kids want it, therefore it's for kids, despite the rating.
Also, the kids of today, they know what sex is. They probably think it's gross. I remember being a kid and being like, why do people do the kissy stuff? And then my mom was like, well, because they love each other. And I'm like, that's gross.
And also not true.
It was also not true. But, you know, that's a white lie that's, you know, appropriate to tell a child that people have sex because they love each other.
All right, well,
What
anyway.
are you going to tell? Well, sometimes people kiss because they want a nut. Like, come on.
Well,
That's
son,
not
sometimes
appropriate.
people need to get the poison out.
Oh, God. You know, you've used that explicit phrase so many times that I thought it was a joke you made up, and now I'm starting to think that it's a real sentence made by somebody in your life.
It sure does exist outside of me. That being said, when this came around again in the modern era and it was in there, it's a hilarious throwback to the fuck up that is leaving in assets that are not supposed to be there. Then the music that was not licensed anymore just being like turned off. We have found out over the course of the last 2 decades that it is not enough to turn things off and go, there, it's done.
Hey, why do you think there's no PC network test of Elden Ring? Because most of the map is probably literally still there in that network test.
Because they'll turn the demo into the entire full game.
Yeah.
You know?
You remember when the RE5 demo got data mined and turns out like most of the game is in that RE5 demo? Like, what are you doing? Why'd you leave all this boss data and all the audio files for every cutscene in the game in the demo?
The entire Cross-Tekken DLC roster sitting right there on the disc when you buy it, but you're not allowed to have it till you buy the 2 kilobyte key.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a year away.
Yep.
People point out that Yakuza 6 demo was accidentally the entirety of Yakuza 6, and they forgot to put the demo lock in, so it was just the whole game.
So this is a thing, and in this particular case, it's like, how could they have fucked that up by leaving that in? Well, maybe it's because their plates were full with everything else happening to this game.
So, before we get into this, I'm just going to lay a ground portion that explains a lot of what we're going to talk about. The developer called Grove Street Games that made this definitive edition of the GTA games, these are not the PS2 games. They're not the PC games. These are ports of the old, broken mobile games.
Is that the source?
They're the phone games. People can tell because the weightlifting game in San Andreas is the shitty iOS version and not the real PC or PS3 version.
I didn't catch that. Okay.
So these are not the PS2 redone. This is not the old PC versions redone. These are the 9-year-old iOS ports as the basis.
And that would explain why, like, some of the faces are just ghoulish, non-expressive, complete, like, ridiculously low-quality replacements for things that looked fine.
It was outsourced. A lot of the model work was outsourced to, I think, an Indian company that is I've never heard of them before. And judging by their work on this, they either had a very small deadline or not that much going on. But the textures is the absolute pinnacle because
why does this always happen?
They have,
like Silent Hill. You know, like, it's always the textures that are the telltale sign.
Like, I can tell you right now, it's very simple. In Silent Hill, Konami is bad about version control, and they just didn't have a final copy of the Gold Master of Silent Hill 2. They had somehow misplaced it. The only version they had was like 6 or 7 versions before final. And so when they sent it off to the port house had to first re-gold master it and fix bugs that were decades old on the PS2 architecture. And then there were textures that were just not good enough or whatever, and so the time available to them was like nothing. For GTA, the textures specifically, these are big games. Even though the textures are very low quality, and even if you made lower quality textures just to smooth them over, like compared to the modern standards, they're still very big games that lost of textures. So they decided, you know what would be a great idea? Let's just throw every texture in the game into an AI up-resing robot program that people use for stuff like the CG backgrounds in Final Fantasy VII or RE2, you know, the upscalers.
KOF 94 reboot.
Here's the problem. Rockstar games have a shit ton of text on buildings, and they're all puns. And the AI upscaler that's been trained on real life botches every single one. There is a guitar store that has it's like air guitar wank sessions or whatever. Every single word is a typo. Every single goddamn word is wrong.
I mean, yeah, so this whole thing, like, this is a content creator's dream.
Oh, Joel has been having a time of it. Have you seen this shit?
Everyone has. It's like it's wild. Everyone has been going nuts. There is no better time than when something as high profile as this is such an absolute clusterfuck.
Joel Vinesauce, near and dear to my heart. I love you, Joel. Put out the absolute pinnacle of this game. It is a 12-second clip in which he decided it would be funny if he just drank soda until CJ got super fat.
Yes.
And then the game crashed, and then his save was ruined.
Yeah.
Screwed up the save file.
For drinking too much soda. Then just a series of tweets from just all around the internet. You got credits to Janky Nadelko with My Eyes Hurt Part 1, which is when you get to just see the rain effect, which, like, any random shit Snapchat filter looks infinitely better than what appears to just be white lines falling at an even pace that ignore the layer of water of the ocean that you're looking at.
Water and roads don't get affected by it, but everything else does.
And they're the brightest thing ever, and you can't really see beyond them. And then they're falling also at a rate where if you're in a helicopter and you descend fast enough, they stop falling and start moving upwards. It's the ugliest shit.
And also, it's a single image file, transparent image file that's being stapled to your character. So it stays completely uniform no matter how fast you go, like forward and backwards on a horizontal plane.
Yeah.
A shout out to Gigaboots. They did a huge stream of this game. They were about to pull into a goddamn garage only to find Tommy Vercetti T-posing stuck in the goddamn floor with a fucked up look on his face. Like, it is a trash fire. And I'm going to also shout out Mr. Fields, Mr. Fields Wild Ride, Twitter shit poster extraordinaire, for summing up the whole situation excellently, which is people are comparing this to the trash fire that was Cyberpunk, right? And Fields correctly points out that Cyberpunk promised you the world. Cyberpunk promised you a gigantic modern game with all these features, and it was a trash fire. This is ports of decades-old PS2 games that already had working PC versions.
That were fine.
And it's literally just tweak the controls a little bit, make it run a little better, maybe upscale some of the textures, maybe improve anti-aliasing, like the barest minimum of a re-release.
Yeah, I'm looking at the thread.
It bums me out because I would love to go back and play Vice City and San Andreas. And what do I do now? Emulate the PS2 version or go hack a fucking pirate copy of the delisted PC versions? Like, fuck.
We'll just literally just go grab the old disc and pop it into an old console and play it. You know what I mean? Like that. I was literally saying when we brought this up maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was like, oh, like I haven't played all the GTA 3s, right? So yeah, that'd be an interesting way to get around
Vice
to it.
City and San Andreas hold up great. Those games are incredible. I would love to go back and play them.
Jesus Christ.
And fucking hang out with Sweet and talk shit about Big Smoke and listen to his fucking ridiculous order and chase the train.
So there is there are infinite side by sides of just like, here is what it looks like when you're rigged to a bike from the side view and your arms just completely turn into weird stretched out putty in order to fit onto the bike. There's a shot of a bikini girl in Vice City that just I don't even understand what I'm looking at. The faces all like when you say it comes from the phone version, it suddenly makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You know?
I have to say that you said it's always the textures. Not true. Whenever we talk about these remasters, there's one thing that's actually an even more consistent botch than the textures, and it's the lighting. So let's take Vice City, right? If you go back and look at Vice City, that game is always kind of pink or orange. Somehow there is always a sunset or a sunrise somewhere. And everything, even non-neon lights, somehow has the color palette of neon lights. Because they want you to feel like, this is the fucking 80s! Like, all the time. And you look at the remaster, and it looks like bright-ass middle-of-the-day Los Angeles, San Francisco, harsh lighting. And it's like, every single goddamn remaster always goes, well, we have better graphics. We have a more advanced engine now. Let's make it look more realistic. Like, no. How about you go and look at what the fuck the intent was, which was to make a fucking game that looked like a goddamn 80s suit attached to a light source and just make it more pink, more orange. Like the sky in San Andreas is a bright orange much of the time in the original game.
Yeah,
not
I
anymore.
remember seeing that. And now the fog is not even in these games, so you can see shit through the skybox that you shouldn't even be able to see. The answer to that question is very simple. It's because it's like playing through the original and trying to capture the intent of that scene is a lot of work that a studio that has been hired to just dump the whole thing over doesn't want to do. And like, you're asking for a creative analysis, which is not part of this porting process. The porting process is, we have this many thousand textures, we have to work at a macro level and just, like, hope that the original code still holds up while we replace assets and textures and change resolutions.
Even Halo 1, the Halo 1 anniversary, which was and is in some ways a gold standard of a re-release, in that they have a goddamn button to just switch between the two versions, horribly fucked it up. Because the Halo 1 Classic that is present in Anniversary is based off of the bad Gearbox PC port that doesn't have working bump mapping under lighting. And there's a bunch of effects missing. So when you switch back from the new fancy Halo Anniversary graphics to the old one, you go, wow, I don't remember it looking like shit like this. That's because it didn't. It didn't look like that.
I think the sign to point to
they fixed that recently? That's cool.
Well, here's what's important to understand, right? I get the idea that outsourced company is going to just cut every corner possible to get the job done. Judgment is a remake of Judgment from 2019 to 2021. It is a remake of a game from fucking 24 months ago, and they still fucked it up. And it's because the porting process is not one that's attempting to keep the spirit of what you're describing.
You've seen what Judgment looks like. It looks like it's recorded on burnt film. Like, it's super saturated. Right? Now, Judgment 2 doesn't look like that, but that's fine because Judgment 2 was not designed to look like that.
But it's just crazy that even something that recent can't get it right because again, it's the outsourced port, you know. I mean, for what it's worth, every one of these is like remasters and remakes that just is absolute dog shit, definitive editions, etc. It just makes me go, damn, Demon Souls is a miracle, you know. Fucking Blue Point, incredible.
Listen. I want to point out one last thing as part of this because you mentioned Blue Point. All right. Remaking an old game or even remastering an old game to get everything right is so difficult. Sony had to do it twice with Shadow of the Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, there's stuff in the PS4 version that some people are not thrilled about. I think it's a great version of the game. I can handle a few minor differences.
We were talking about the fat officials having different faces.
Yeah, but like it took 2 attempts on this fucking game. And Shadow of the Colossus is like a simple game with like nothing in it. It's like wide open spaces and light boxes.
Couple of bosses, some lizards. Go. Yeah. It's kind of nuts. So, this is absolutely cyberpunk level of how did they ship it? Why would they ship it? Like, why would you not just take a look at this and just immediately pump the brakes on the entire project? You know,
it's really
deadlines must be respected. We don't give a fuck.
It's really sad to me because like a lot of the people who work at Rockstar are the same people who made those games, right? At least the Housers, right? And they are making a shitzillion quadrillion dollars off of GTA Online, and that's fine, right? I don't personally care for it, but sure, right? But these are like legitimate classics that you would think the people that still there that worked on them would hold them near and dear to their hearts, and people just tossed it off to some shithouse port factory and gave them 2 weeks to make it, and like yeah, whatever. Right? Like, just the lack of respect for your own stuff.
And GTA was a, like, video game industry defining series. It moved consoles like nothing else did in that time. It was the reference point for video games for all demographics at the time, even the ones that were too young to be playing it.
It's also a bummer for me because, like, I don't know about you, Wooly, I don't like any of the new Rockstar games.
I just haven't really tried them.
The PS2 Grand Theft Autos are great. I really I'm okay with 4. I strongly dislike GTA 5, and I tried really hard multiple times to like Red Dead Redemption 2, and it is, how do I put this? Because you haven't played them. It's an argument over, you're having an argument while playing the game with the director. You feel like an actor on a set with George Lucas. And you're like, well, what if I did this? And he goes, shut the fuck up. You're going to do it like this, or we're cutting the scene. And it's just nonstop, like, hey, go to the car to get your stuff. Well, what if I went over here? Mission failed.
Oh, it just gets more and more restrictive over time.
Like Red Dead is out of control. Red Dead 2 is out of control with, like, they're telling you, walk over to the horse, pick up your gun, go here, walk through this door. Then a cutscene plays. I'm like, if you're going to force me to do all of that
–
specifically,
yeah,
why even give me control at all?
Right. I saw someone wrote, you saddled the wrong horse. like, yeah, game over. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I would assume that, like, with all of the newer games, that with infinite budget comes infinite polish. So I feel as if, like, there's no way they could be bad games because there's just so much, like, money to make sure that that's not that it doesn't turn out poorly.
Yeah, well, not this time.
Interesting. Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. For the newer stuff.
Oh, you're talking about Red Dead 2.
Red Dead 2
right?
and the GTA 6s and stuff like that.
You're completely right. Infinite polish. It is polished as all hell. it is absolutely as polished as all hell. But it feels like, and this is an example everyone can agree with. You know when you're playing a game and you beat a boss and it gives you back control, and then you walk 5 feet and a cutscene starts? And you go, why did this not just lead into the cutscene?
Right.
That is the feeling that I had the whole time I played Red Dead 2.
Okay.
Why even pretend to let me play it?
You're on rails. Yeah. So this is like, I don't know if the end result here will be more of a shitstorm than Cyberpunk, but so far Rockstar has only come out to say that they're pulling down the PC edition, the PC sales too.
Apparently it's back up as of this time. Okay.
So then the state of this is it's just too late. The whole thing is a fuck.
This is the version.
This is it.
Shut up. I would be surprised if this ever gets patched at all.
Wow. What would happen if you just ran GTA 3, the original PC version, on a modern computer? Like, could you just compatibility mode it and run it?
I don't think you even have to. I think it just works.
Like,
because people who have access to them now are just like, yeah, just play it.
What the fuck's to stop you, you know? And throw your own MP3 files in a folder, like I used to do, and just fucking hit that on the radio. Yeah, these faces are terrifying when you look at them side to side. There's here, let me find, there's a tweet here that has like the full list. And some of the faces look like, you know when you see like Assassin's Creed style, like, I'm seeing the inside of the head texture?
Yeah.
Like some of them are outside facing, but feel like you're looking at them backwards. I saw like the back of like the rear view mirror while like you have someone saddled behind you, like you're staring at one of a dude's face like the whole time. Just unbelievably horrifying and that fucking thing. The collage, you know.
The
number 9 on the jersey has the cutout texture of a 7 behind it.
The one that gets me by far the worst is the 2 Hispanic guys that have been turned into like children's characters. Just the absolute shittiest heads I've ever seen on a character in my life. Like, it's astonishing.
Yeah.
Massive downgrade in every way.
Well, I guess I will continue to not experience the entirety of GTA 3. Anyway, a couple other things going on besides this one.
So ugly. I keep looking at it. God damn it.
Yeah, was it? Hold on, let me just confirm what it was, like where it got to. But I saw someone was keeping track on Metacritic, and it was at a 0 point something.
Oh, it's the worst user-reviewed Metacritic game of all time.
Yeah, yeah, like, what? 0.5 user score, currently, and I saw that it fluctuated and bounced around a couple times.
Well, it's a combination of like one of the most popular series of games of all time with one of the worst botches of all time.
And no actual critic reviews yet. Okay. Well, there you go.
I just saw all sorts of stupid shit. Just like driving along. You see the one where you can kill yourself bowling?
No.
So you bowl and it hits the pins a certain way, and it hits the back of the fucking the back of the bowling, alley.
Yeah.
And because the physics were not correctly tuned, the ball has real mass and jumps back at you at 80 miles an hour and hits your character in the head and kills them.
And you fucking get wasted. Yeah, okay. I mean, I've seen like, getting into a helicopter and then like it just shoots into the sky and then you get wasted and you're like, I don't know what happened, but whatever. But yeah, like I assume there's a level of being accurate. Even old GTA would have these wild, stupid physics moments. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, I've got some dank tweets for you from the CEO of Grove Street Games.
Hot
You
off
want
the
some
presses.
good ass tweets?
What's going on?
We got one from November 9th. As art ages, what was at the time a mistake becomes an homage. It becomes history. Its preservation is important. Han shoots first. One small step for man. Some mistakes should be rectified, and some should be preserved. Being on the deciding end is a heavy responsibility. And that was 2 days ago. No, wait, that was 6 days ago. But the one from November 11th, it's so fun to see players out here really enjoying what we've put together for them. I'm honestly enjoying this unparalleled level of scrutiny on our studio. Today we are celebrating our monumental project launch while we work on updates.
It's good enthusiasm, good energy. Love the scrutiny. I'm sure everyone at the studio is just laughing it up, loving the scrutiny they're getting.
They're all having champagne, going, "Yeah, we did it."
Every time someone posts a bug, they're like, "Hey!" You know, just yeah.
I cannot possibly believe the last, like the dumb brain of having the gall to say we are enjoying this level of scrutiny in a situation like this.
I mean, what else are you gonna tweet out?
You literally
LOL,
just told
Lamau.
everyone to keep nitpicking as hard as they can. And yes, that is what they should say. That would be so much more honest. LOL, Lamau.
Rockstar paid us. We got the money. Like, we done.
Enjoy your garbage.
You
idiots.
Yeah, this. Anyway, I highly encourage you go check out the Vine Potato tweet that carries. That has the mural.
Dude. Oh, I love this. People are sending me all sorts of garbage. This is not going to play correctly for the home audience who are just listening to this. But there's a donut shop in San Andreas called Tough Nut Donuts, in which it's a bolt, like a nut, like a hexagon nut sitting next to a highly polygonal donut on top of the thing. Haha, that's funny. And now in Tough Nut Donuts, both are now perfect spheres.
They're spheres.
And it makes no goddamn sense at all. Just gonna retweet this on my Twitter, Pat Stares At, so people
the
can see
entire
this
joke of the polygonal donut is completely defeated.
ruined.
Amazing.
God damn it.
Amazing. Yeah. But that's exactly it. That's what happens when you're not paying attention to what assets are being put where and for what purpose. You're just mass updating the game like at a God view level, you know? You're replacing files and folders, you're recompiling the whole thing. You're not actually going through the game and experiencing it and then
Or you're going
into
literally
account.
asset by asset in a list.
Sure. Right?
Hey,
and
you want to hear the absolute, I don't know if I've ever told you about this, but the absolute most brain dead way to develop a game I've ever heard of in my life? You ever played Oblivion? Even for a short period?
I watched it.
Okay, you ever notice that the voice acting in that game is fucking gonzo?
Okay.
Like it's weird and all over the place. The actors for Oblivion were given their lines in alphabetical order and asked to perform them in alphabetical order.
Why?
I don't know.
It was just the way that the Excel sheet like parsed everything.
They were just given, here's all your character sentences that start with A. Here's all your character sentences that start with B. And that's why when you talk to people and have conversations, they sound insane.
Oh my God. If you don't have the lines that are from the same scene right next to each other, you have no context for what you're supposed to be feeling or why. And sometimes a recording script will have like notes from the director about what emotion you should be feeling, but the full script should be chronological so that you have some idea. That's fucking crazy.
It's why like we have great moments like stop criminal, you violated the law and shit like that. I genuinely think that the only two people that got anything different were Patrick Stewart and Sean Bean. They were probably given like and especially they have very few lines comparatively. They were probably given like real like scripts to work with.
I'm curious. Like, did this come out because like some of the actors like went, "Yeah, this is what happened"? Like,
I don't know. I don't know how it came out.
Okay.
There's also 3 or 4 lines of dialogue in that game that are the equivalent of, I forget what the actual text of it was. It's like, "Hey, have you heard about the elves that?" All right, no. Okay, let me try that again. Okay. "Hey, have you heard about the elves?"
And
Like
they didn't cut it.
They're totally still there. The whole fucking thing.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Nice. You just, again, I know QA did their job. They caught that. They bugged it. Someone looked at it and went, WNF. It's not important. You know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway. A couple other things going on.
Everything sucks. Oh, there's a Halo TV show coming.
Well, that's okay. That's what comes next. So
About John Halo from Smash Bros.
But it's not just any Halo TV show. In 2013, Microsoft talked about getting a Halo TV show done, and somehow Spielberg was attached.
Yeah.
And for years, I mean, we remember it went through Neil Blomkamp, and then there was the Ridley Scott project.
It's really easy to attach big names to a project when you say, "Hey, let's do it," and there's nothing. And there's nothing
Forever.
right?
Yeah.
And the problem Microsoft had every single time was that they'd sign on and they go, "Cool, I'm excited to work with this." And Bungie would bring in this fucking Bible of shit they're not allowed to change, and they'd go, "I am out of here."
Yeah, Spielberg was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to make fling blocks or whatever the fuck that thing was called."
Yeah, and Blomkamp, I believe he talked about it in an interview where it's like every time he wanted to do a cool thing, somebody would come in and tell him that he couldn't do that because the gun didn't work that way or the alien didn't do that, and he's like, "I'm just trying to God damn it, I'm gonna go make Chappie."
Sure. Yeah. And then that what was it? Halo Nightfall. That did come out. But this thing from 2013, the Spielberg project, is finally getting teased, and it's coming to Paramount Plus. And you get to see a little trailer of John Haloman putting his helmet on.
Oh, good old John Halo.
And it zooms in on the 117, and you're like, "Yep, that's a Halo."
All right, so let's, I've been a huge Halo fan for a long time.
The longest time, like the hardcorest fan, really.
Halo has great music, and it has excellent encounter design, but the story is that Spaceman gonna shoot the aliens.
Yes, but to be fair, I went in expecting so little of the story, and I was really impressed with like how cool some shit turned out to be. In particular, the with 2, shit got really, really sick. It was and the Bible is happening, and it's big Bible, but it's also cool Bible, And then by the time I'm reading about,
there's definitely a bunch of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, and by the time I'm reading about mendicant bias, or the fucking the Flood Father and all that, I'm like, yeah, I'm in on this. I'm sold. This is cool. I like the story.
I like how somebody is saying, I dare you to say that the Arbiter isn't cool. The Arbiter is voiced by Keith David. The Arbiter could have been a jar of piss, and he would have been cool if he was voiced by Keith David.
Yeah. And the lore of the Covenant and how it comes together, and it's all big space racism. That's all fun. So I'm out here saying that like I like the Halo story that I played through.
I liked it in the context of a video game, but I cannot possibly see how it would expand into something to really care about in like just a pure narrative sense.
Well, then you haven't read your Bible, sir.
No, I haven't. What I did is I played Halo Reach, and there are 2 points in Halo Reach that are just fucking thumbs up. You completely nailed it. This is absolutely incredible. Blowing up that goddamn Covenant ship and seeing 5 come in after like an hour of gameplay and having you go, oh, fucking fuck, motherfucker. And then the final objective of survive.
Yes.
That's where Halo succeeds, where it's telling you how it feels through gameplay. Those same scenes wouldn't hit the same if they were just a narrative, like, TV show.
Well, fair, but at the same time, you're not considering that if you were to go ask Brian David Gilbert, he could also tell you about every novel and how all those books also contribute to what might be part of the show script.
Right.
Of which, you know, I don't know if you know this, but the Cole Protocol, though, damn, dude, there's some books out there you should
All
read.
I know about the Cole Protocol is that you were apparently a total psychopath about not hearing about it. That's all I know about the Cole Protocol.
The Cole Protocol. The Cole Protocol. People cared so much.
I just think it's. I also don't know how well, like, for a guy like Master Chief, Chris Pratt is going to work out.
I don't know if he's gonna agree to keep the helmet on the whole time.
Well, it's CG, so that would be an extra weird request to have the character pull the helmet off and have the Chris Pratt face. But
And what if he gets confused by his roles and he starts doing the Garfield voice accidentally?
Yeah, maybe.
That's another issue. Is if he starts doing his Garfield voice for Halo and then starts doing his Halo voice for Mario, that might be bad.
And then he just becomes like then he just becomes Garf-Lord the Master Plumber, and then nobody can figure out what the fuck he's doing.
Okay, you picked the right syllables in the right place. Good job.
The whole time
there's a lot of ways that could have
I'm trying to combine it in my head.
There's a lot of ways that could have failed, but you got the right ones in the right place.
Starfield, something. I'm like, that's not good. Garf-Lord. There it is.
All right, there we go. Done and done. Godspeed, Spielberg. Godspeed. Other things going on. So, of course, everyone's excited for FromSoft and their latest and greatest.
That's
but what
true.
if Mom said we have FromSoft at home?
What if? What would she hand you?
Lies of P?
Oh. This game looks like, hey, I want to make Bloodborne 2.
So, some things, it's interesting because some games come along and they're Souls-likes. For example, Surge. And you go, hey, look, it's Diesel Souls. We wanted to enjoy this type of gameplay in a different setting. And you go, okay, that's what you wanted.
Got it.
Then you see this. And this, like, we don't even know if the combat actually feels like
We
Bloodborne.
do. A gameplay trailer came out. It's Bloodborne.
Okay. But holy fuck, do you want to be Bloodborne on every aesthetic level possible?
Hey. Hey, remember, Wooly. Never forget that in Lies of P, it's APAB.
All Pinocchios.
All puppets are bastards. There's
All
a strung-up
puppets.
puppet with the phrase APAB written on it in the trailer.
It's good.
And I'm looking at this, and I'm going, oh, what are you doing?
That's the type of social commentary we need. That's the tact we're looking for. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I support it. What's going on? So,
That's not real? Go watch the trailer, fuckers. It's right there on the bridge.
Is it?
Yeah. I'll get you a fucking screenshot. You can put it up.
Because I have the trailer open right here. So, there it is. But, I mean, I'm down. I'm down for this. If this is what we're doing. If we can get a shot of Geppetto taking a knee. You know, I'm here for it. Let's get it going. Let's go all the way. Why back down? Don't be a coward. This is a You got it?
Here's your screenshot. Make sure to download this or put it elsewhere or whatever.
Oh boy. Oh man. That's real.
You think I would make something up that tasteless?
Photoshop is a thing. Photoshop can be a thing.
I pulled that right off the trailer. You can even see the part of the screenshot where it says hit escape to unfull screen the YouTube.
All right. We're going in. We're going in all the way. No breaks. So
there's no good puppets because the good puppets let the bad puppets get away with everything.
So in this Lies of P game, it seems like you are Pinocchio, and you have your puppet arm with trick weapons and blades and wheels and things that literally are just Bloodborne weapons.
Yeah, it's a Bloodborne.
Like you can make a Bloodborne, but still make your own weapons. But instead, they just went, no, we want those ones.
We want that. We want to make that one.
I want that weapon though. And then you see him swinging it around, and you're like, yeah. And then he casts a spell with his other hand and does a big old wheel attack. And
he's a magic puppet boy.
And then we'll see what's up, but it's puppets fighting in a big old dark, maybe Victorian sort of setting and dark Victorian sort of clothing and, Lies of P. Maybe your nose will grow and maybe Geppetto will be a nice old man, or maybe he'll be an evil fuck. I don't know. I read Fables. We've seen this.
Geppetto's going to be a total asshole and you know it.
Probably. If you're going to go edgy Geppetto, then you got to go like playing with life, playing God, etc. It's never about why do you want a real son? Why do you want a real boy? Or is it hubris, etc., etc., etc.
Pinocchio's an attempt to dethrone God.
Create your own life, therefore you don't have to follow the rules of God. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right there. Bam,
yep. Done and done. And the fun thing about puppets is that you can create them with eyes on the inside,
That's true, you can.
Very, very easily. I'm waiting for the trailer to show like the orphan of Pos. Like I'm waiting for the moment where it just starts flailing around and you're like, yeah, sure, there's some puppet-based reason for this.
Yeah.
I believe it. Look, who knows? Maybe it'll be fun. But it doesn't sure seem to. It doesn't care.
Originality's overrated, people.
I know tons of games that are original and they're cowards.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't give a fuck. You gotta hand it to them. Good job, Lies of P.
Good job.
Also, you've got a little bit of a... honestly, this is one of those bits where I'm like, I'm surprised this didn't happen way sooner. But yeah, of course Naruto's coming to Fortnite.
Yeah. That's been known for months and months and months.
And all I can think
of
when I see that is just like that's so obvious and such a yeah, people are gonna love that and everyone is gonna take their. Now you're gonna be able to do the Naruto run with Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
You know? And that's all people really want to do.
Yeah.
Naruto run through the MLK Memorial with Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
It's such an obvious thing that all I can really think of is, man, like Toriyama and Bandai and the people in charge of Goku do not lend out the Goku license anywhere near as much as they should. People want Goku in everything, and he almost shows up in
final Smash character.
He shows up in nothing. People will always talk about, but what if Goku was in it? And he's never in it. But Naruto is always in it.
And you're like, what if Naruto wasn't in it?
It's crazy. Naruto, like, is like, they know the American appeal. They understand that, and they realize, like, the clout. And they're like, yeah, we'll fucking show up. We'll guest star in whatever. Who wants us? Naruto, it's like Shovel Knight. It's like, nah, we're going. We're going to be there. You want us to be there? We're coming. We're going to hang out.
You know what it reminds me? When I retweeted the, oh my god, it's the John Halo TV show, right? I saw a guy who responded to me. It's like, it's weird that they made a TV show about the green guy on the Doritos.
Yep. Everywhere.
Like, that's what Naruto feels like at all times.
Everywhere that Naruto makes a cameo, it should have been Goku. And someone is just not collecting the paychecks that they could have been. Anyway.
I feel like we're at the point of like, so-and-so's coming to Fortnite. It's like, yeah, of course they are. It's the biggest game that's ever been by orders of magnitude.
It does.
I literally fired it up last week to buy Chris and Jill and then turned it off, and I'm not playing it.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, that reminds me of the waning days of Overwatch, when I'd fire it up to get a costume that was cool and then turn it off, you know? Yeah, it's infinitely more beneficial to the property than it is to Fortnite for you to show up in Fortnite. Anyways, that's going down. What else is happening? Interview with Sakurai reveals that they were planning to add air smash attacks during the initial.
I don't think that's a good idea.
It's interesting. I don't mind adding, a little bit of, variety to the system. But the question is do you float or do you drop while you're charging it? He says, during the initial planning stage for Smash Ultimate, we were considering adding air smash attacks. And that would have made Ultimate feel like a really new version, a new game compared to updating Smash 4. As much as we think aerial combat is important, we did not add it because it overcomplicated things. Even so, combat options in the air are limited. Players end up checking each other using neutral or forward air attacks. If we can change these things, I believe it'll create a deeper level of strategy, but we did not because I believe that there should be a line to be drawn between casual and competitive play. So, like, that's one of those, like, we were going to add this. It would have made the system a bit more complex, but we deliberately didn't to avoid, like, making it, like, worse in a casual feeling way, you know? I think I get it.
That would have been too harsh on the Scrimblows.
But what about RPG McSword guy? McJRPG, whatever it is. I forget the other name. Yeah.
It's Scrimblow the lovable Scrunko.
No, Scrimblow Blimblow.
Scrimblow Blimblow. It is the lovable Scrunko. I remember that vividly. But I forget what the JRPG guy was.
I think it was Sword Guy McJRPG.
Yeah, it might have been it.
Something like that. I don't know. I think it could have been interesting. I mean, when you a little bit if you dropped down in the ways, if you like when you do like the Air Falcon punch or the Air Warlock punch for that matter. Yeah, interesting. We got a trailer for the next Guilty Gear Strive DLC character, Happy Chaos.
Shocker!
Indeed.
Wow!
If you watched the story mode, you would not be surprised, seeing as he is a central ass villain. That you're just like, okay, obviously he's showing up. The question is how's he gonna play? And as he's been introduced as the gunslinging broken messiah. Seems like he's gonna be a modified Elfelt. So pulls the gun out, and a cursor appears on screen which you can control, and then you can fire and lock and hit the person wherever they are on screen. And it seems like he has a bullet meter as well as a number of shots you can take before you need to reload it meter. Not reload, but like before you cool down. And then we've only seen a couple moves where like he pulls the gun out and will like either be in a stance or will roll or walk while shooting. And then a couple other moves where he like shoots out a clone. So seems like, he might just be like a tricky mid-range zoner. Not much to go off of because these trailers, they're okay. They're not as bad as the Dragon Ball Fighters trailers that show fucking two auto combos and half of a level 3.
I've ever seen.
They're unbelievable. They're ridiculous. These ones show you a bit of the character, but it's not enough to get a full understanding. Some more fun music as well. I get this is kind of like his theme is that a little jazzy sounding. So I feel as if between all 3 DLC characters so far, the genre switch has been extreme with their soundtrack. I feel as if every DLC character is going to be a different genre of music mixed with Guilty Gear rock, Guilty Gear butt rock, cross, jazzy piano, or cross big heavy, it's not a big deal, whatever that is, John Goodman sitting on a stool.
Burger sheriffing.
Yeah, so, not much of a surprise, but I'm curious to know how effective his zoning will be. And then
the only thing I that stood out to me that whole trailer is that when he shoots the gun, the recoil on it looks like shit.
It seems to depend on like whether do you have to go through the full animation? Can you keep shooting? Because Elfelt could shoot multiple times, and then have a little cooldown. It's unclear what the limitations will be with the gun, and also the cursor, the reticle changes colors. So there's an orange reticle at one point, and then a blue reticle. So it seems like there's 2 types of shots or 2 special moves that'll give you different options. What I can say is, if you watch story mode, I'm gonna say it's pretty obvious who else should be showing up, and between these 2
people from the leaked list.
But also, yes, like it just who gets screen time, what's the obvious move here? And I think we're gonna get a bunch of zoners coming. So, I want to know what that man move list is gonna be. I want to know. I feel like you see in that story mode some ideas. He's dropping on the 30th, so in about 2 weeks we should find out. Right, and then last thing over here, apparently the New World's entire economy needed to be switched off by Amazon Games after people discovered a duping glitch.
So the New World thing has been ongoing for a long time. They had a situation where every time they try and stop something from breaking, it breaks more. So like they disabled player trading because of this thing, and then because the trading was gone, it turns out people's housing taxes were inverting and paying them.
Oh my god.
This was a couple weeks ago, and then it happened again. There's a new dupe glitch that is they turned it all off again.
So how do you just turn off the economy but keep the game
you turn
online?
off player trading.
That's it. Okay. Can you?
I like New World is a level of fucked that it's rare to see an MMO launch this way because it was built on sand. There was a great thread that a developer who worked at Amazon Games described that basically some people from different technological fields said, no, this engine would be good, but then they started building on a separate engine to get the games actually running and just constant fighting with it. Did you hear about the invincibility bug, Wooly?
I did not.
So the invincibility bug is if you put the game in windowed mode and drag the window, when the window is being dragged, the client can't update the damage to your character, so you're invincible.
Oh my god. That's a bug. Oh, that's a good bug.
You think that's bad? Get ready for this one.
Oh man. Damn.
Get ready for
if you were on my team, that's dinner on me. If you were on my QA team, that's dinner on my fucking my
the
card.
reason for that is because the game was written on a client authoritative engine, which you can't do for MMOs.
Doesn't that just mean anyone can cheat instantly?
Yeah. Now, their anti-cheat appears to be worthwhile, but not the anti-cheat doesn't catch bugs that exist with the way the game works. But here's the ultimate. Here's the best one I've ever heard. And one of the reasons that I sent the economy one over is so that I could talk about this one from a couple weeks ago. In-game chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? Turns out the in-game chat is actually just an HTML box that has open parentheses and closed parentheses off of text at the beginning and end of it. Which means that if you type something and then close it, you suddenly have access to an in-game floating HTML input device.
Oh no!
Which means you can then cause that
load
to link
code.
You can have you can code it so that a random word in your sentence will hot link to a type of image that will insta crash the client. And you can type that out into general chat. And if people mouse over what you said, their client crashes.
You can instantly inject any kind of nefarious code if you can close the HTML parentheses.
That was the first one that happened. People were figuring out how to make normal looking statements that if you moused over would crash the other person's client.
Oh, this is QA porn, dude. This is QA porn.
Somebody with more knowledge than I says it's not HTML. It needs an image reference to a game asset. However, if the asset doesn't exist, the game crashes.
It doesn't know what to do. Okay. Oh my god.
Yeah, the game's built on sand. The whole underlying engine is client authoritative, and they're going to be chasing this forever. This is also the roots of these problems being engine foibles is why everything Amazon Games has put out has been a disaster because 2 or 3 guys in high-end production roles didn't know what they were talking about when they went and got engines and told teams to build on this but transfer it to this and yada yada yada. And so Amazon Games in general is a complete trash fire and will be until they start over from now with future projects.
Fuck. Wow. Because all of these side by side sound like when Fable 2 fell apart with all these duping bugs and economy things or whatever.
Yeah, but
in the end, who cares?
It's a single player game. Yeah,
single player. Yeah, and you get your co-op local experience.
Yeah, it's a fun little thing you can do. Wow.
Oh my god, you can completely ruin someone else's sub.
Yeah, so
fuck their experience up.
New World has been bouncing from this type of bug to this type of bug weekly the entirety of its release. Every single week there's something that is like, uh-oh, this is broken. This is really, 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 really broken. Fuck.
Yeah, no, as we would categorize, that is a miracle class bug. That goes beyond an S. Holy shit, dude. Wow. Are there numbers for like what the population of the game is? Active players?
It's lost more than half of its active players since launch. And that was a couple weeks ago. So I can only imagine. You know, I can go look this up. It's on Steam. So New World
Steam Spy it?
player count. Nah, you can just Steam charts. October 31st article. New World has lost over 500,000 players in a month. From a peak of 900,013 to 413. And these are from the end of October. This is 2 weeks ago. How many people are playing New World as of now, or at least last week? Says 1.6 million. I don't know if I believe that.
Does it take, like... How long does it take to feel if an MMO is going to click or not with you? Like,
okay, well,
1 month of a sub?
I found a 5-day-old article that says the population has now dropped by 600,000. So yeah.
Oh, well then, sure. Sure.
How fast do you know? I can tell you right now.
One raid.
Open the menu. And move
In-game?
your character 5 feet.
Okay.
you like you remember me talking about those Korean trap MMOs?
Yep.
Okay. You can literally tell from like 2 button presses whether or not it's going to be garbage or not. If basic movement is bad and the menus are bad, leave. Now, stuff beyond that, it would take a week to be able to feel it. But like those 2 things are just instantly run. Just run away right now.
Interesting. Okay. Will Amazon Games ever figure it out? It's been years of talking about them and absolutely nothing happening. Holy shit.
In some cases, things unhappening with Crucible.
Yeah, literally, like exactly, you know, like pulling back. God, I hope they don't buy any other studios just to kill them.
Yeah.
Or not kill them, to put them in a zombie state.
Wooly, this was a disaster, and these projects blew up in our face. God, we lost so much money on it. The only way we're ever going to make that money back is by buying more studios. Maybe they can figure it out.
If they buy your favorite studio, or a studio that's pretty good, and then you never hear from them again, is that studio still alive?
No, absolutely not. Double Helix is gone, man.
Does it even count? Well,
it's like, but always keep the people in management who are actually to blame for these problems. Never move them around.
Yeah. Speaking of studio buying, I think or at least new studios, MiHoYo is setting up a new one actually in Montreal for whatever their next project is going to be. Mm-hmm. So the Genshin follow-up is going to be made right here, it seems.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'll be sure to catch the latest shit talk as I'll put the tendrils out and hear what's happening in the QA mines and in the local, in the neighborhood, and hear how things are going to go. All right. Let's get some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, go ahead and send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
We got one coming in from Jason says, Dear Kite Apprentice and Orb Master.
Woo, pondering this orb.
Due to your jobs, you guys tend to play and try more genres than your average person. What genre do you think is the most helpful at improving general skills in gaming overall? This was brought on by a recent Dark Souls where during a basic fight, Reggie responded by saying, "Hey, I know, Wooly, I play fighting games." That's an interesting question. I would think, honestly, like 2D platformers. I think an old 2D platformer like sets the basis of like, but then again, a lot of games don't follow those rules anymore. But I would have said like that's where the fundamentals kind of come into play, you know, movement, timing, jumps, a good old like in you know, and if it's got fighting combat like Mega Man or something like that, like just the idea of like bosses, patterns, things like that. A Mega Man style game, I think, is like video game fundamentals. Probably, but genres are so fucking like that like whatever you learn there is not going to teach you shit about Disco Elysium, you know. Which, by the way, Punch Mom just finished.
Yo,
fuck yeah!
I'm gonna say Resident Evil 4 specifically.
Go on.
You have to deal with multiple problems simultaneously. It teaches you how to shoot, teaches you how to manage inventory, teaches you how to manage resources, teaches you about combining items, teaches you about upgrading items, teaches you about 3D movement, teaches you about QTEs. Also,
any platforming?
Really good. Nah, not really. You can't really jump in RE4.
Yeah, I was like no real spacing and jump. You know,
also,
things.
If you can get through a game with tank controls, everything else is going to be no problem.
Sure. A lot of games have that type of management required. I could see it. I think that's acceptable. Yeah, side note. Punch Mom beat Disco and saw some fucking cool shit that I did not see.
Cool.
So there are events that can go down that are like, if you happen to do the right thing and have the right thing and line this all up, you're going to get a very unique interaction here. And of course we all knew that. The tie.
Yeah.
The necktie.
It's the thing you missed that I was the most bummed out I couldn't talk to you about.
Oh my god, the conclusion of the horrific necktie is unbelievable.
Oh, it's great.
That was insane, you know? Also the Ruby, she had a very different Ruby encounter from me, and like, oh yeah, like it's so fun just reviewing the notes on how things went. But that was it's fun just getting getting to talk about a lot of that shit again. And then the overall, like, there's a lot of things that like she'll forget from time to time playing through some of these games, or just like details that get lost or things that have to be pointed out after the fact. And I was really, really hoping that Burn Baby Burn would not go over her head, and thankfully it didn't. You know, like, it's like you've been hearing this the whole time and it's all coming together, just like everything else in the game. No matter what you do, no matter how badly you fail and fuck up, it all comes together, and everyone is kind of in amazement at how well you handle each decision in each way, you know?
See, Disco's devs are looking for people for a new project that deals specifically with open world reactivity.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, I didn't fully read the article, but I saw that pop up, and I'm thinking, it's like, yeah, why the fuck wouldn't your next game just be an adaptation of the other book? I forgot what it's called, but
something air.
Yes, Hostile Air or something like that. Anyway,
I cannot think of a game that I would want combat less in than anything made by that studio.
Sacred and Terrible Air.
Could you imagine if they're like, we are making the new game after the Disco Elysium, and it's like it loads into like a 3D model, and then you're walking around as Harry or whoever,
And you've
and
got a
then
shoot button.
and then a thug comes at you, and it's like you have to shoot the criminals, and I would be like, oh,
yeah.
just kill me.
And also, just like the narrator in Darkest Dungeon, that narrator in Disco, that needs to stick around forever.
Yeah, that dude. That was his first voice acting role.
Well, congratulations, you have a new career, Music Man. You're unbelievable at this, and I really, really hope I hear you again.
The DJ and a bass player, I want to say, and who just had like this crazy voice that one of them knew. They're like, "You want to come do this thing?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." Like, just complete.
Just annihilated the role. Fucking unbelievable. Anyway. We got one coming in here. Dear middle-aged leprechaun and silky dreads.
Hey, I got a couple more years left in me.
Joel says, I've been loving a lot of the FromSoft discussions. Was curious how you felt about the eventual despawning of enemies in DS2 after killing them 15 times. I've been finding that I share, if almost all, if not like most of Pat's Mind Goblins, and the same intensity, so I don't believe I have any hobgoblins this time, but despawning and being able to run through empty areas gives a sense of completion in a way. On the other hand, this could be strengthening my own goblins, because any sane person wouldn't care about running through an area 15 times.
So, I don't care for it, but it's not the end of the world. It was much more frustrating before people figured out that you could use the Champions Covenant to respawn those enemies again if you need to farm something off of them. What is the end of the world is that killing the Ice Kieran in the Blizzard area, the frigid outskirts in DS2, until they despawn appears to be the intended solution.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't. That's not cool. I hate it. I don't like it. I think now, like, that was my first experience ever going through it, and I remember, like, it only happened in a couple areas. I think it was
Bastille, I think.
Bastille is where, yeah, exactly. We saw that
happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, despawn the Bastille guys. But now that I've gone through, the other games, I really don't like that idea. I especially, like, even though you can repopulate it via, some type of means, as a basic thing that you encounter going through this, possibly on your own for the first time without that information, the idea that you, like, can farm in areas if you do want to spend your time getting a bit stronger is fair. I think that's a fair and okay thing given the challenge. And you get to learn about fighting these things and about these encounters, and there's a lot to just re-exploring these areas, putting a cap on it that says, like, no, you've either struggled too much, or congrats, you did it, but now you can't farm anymore. I don't like either of those reasons. And the idea of, like, just learning to overcome, learning the optimal route to run through. In many cases, you can avoid them anyway. It's not a big deal. I don't see why you'd have to then reinforce by taking away options from the player. You can learn to run it. It's not that hard, or you can farm it if you want to farm it, or you can, deal with it in the intended way. But if there's an enemy like that you described, where it's like, no, the best shot at this area is by killing this thing 15 times, that's by design. Fuck that. That's awful.
So, and it's a bad design because in that specific thing, because the enemies keep respawning without a bonfire until they've been permanently despawned.
Yeah.
So if you have a really incredible run, you could actually kill 5 of the 15 ones and so it'll happen in a couple trips. It's terrible.
It's a more. It sounds like a more annoying version of like to do that thing of like, the best way to go through this is to like depopulate it. Why not make that thing die on the first kill like the toxic blowers, and then
Just shut up.
make it annoying to deal with, but once you get done with it once, you're okay. That was totally fine in DS1.
So it's interesting because we're talking about this, and this was kind of a capitulation or a solution to the experience of, I know how to get to the boss, I'm just going to run past all the enemies. Right? So at least, now it'll be natural. Elden Ring is interesting because enemies in the open world obviously leash you only to a certain distance because they can't handle it. Enemies in the not open world will leash you to absurd distances. Enemies from the front of the gate tracked me all the way to the part where the network test sealed me off.
Wow.
But you can stealth past a large amount of them. So that's the solution. Is leash distances on interior spaces are enormous, but you can get through areas without actually proccing aggro range on many of them by sneaking.
But if the soul reward is worth it, then why not?
You'll do it anyway.
Stealth take them down.
Yeah.
I guess it's like if you can stealth through, that's one thing, but I wouldn't it be more, I guess, intended to stealth take down and avoid the ambush trumpets or the alert trumpet?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
The sleep arrows are really powerful.
But missing out on souls that you can get clearing an area is...
Let me tell you, playing that Elden Ring network test, there's plenty of souls around.
Oh, yeah?
You're going to be fighting... No, like, everything is current. Like, there's so many goddamn enemies everywhere in every direction. It's not an issue.
Here's a question. What was the largest soul number you received? Was it from Final Dude?
It was from Egg Healer Market. It was like 3,000, 4,000, something like that.
Okay. Okay, so that's the scale. All right. Because...
Well, that's the scale for now.
Okay. Because, yeah, like, Gwyn drops 70k, right?
Yeah.
So that's your upper threshold.
Here's the thing, though,
for new
right?
game.
Because, like, the souls are still going up in a exponential scale, like, 2,000, 2,300, 2,600, etc. per level. But if the game is 5 times the size of the largest Souls game, then we're probably going to be hitting, like, level 350 or some shit.
100k soul dropping enemies.
Yeah, like... You know what's going to be really interesting about this game?
What level do you complete it at?
That, but also, like, it appears that the map is going to be a ring. Let's say you go all the way up the left side, right? And get to the final area, and you're doing it, and then you go back to, like, well, what about that zone I didn't spend that much time in? Are you going to go back there and just start walking through and just one-hitting fucking everything and it can't touch you? Because that's an experience that you don't usually get in these types of games, and that would be awesome!
I mean, I got that in Demons and DS.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. In both runs I just did of these games, like, I definitely came back to the starting zones and one-shotted everything.
Yeah, but did you get to the point of, like, functional invincibility?
I didn't get to functional invincibility, but I got to, like, I'm holding Havels in one hand and Grant in the other, and Manus can't do shit to me.
I want to walk through a starter zone with some kind of AoE fucking thing on me, and it's like playing Equinox in Warframe, where anybody that comes within 10 feet just drops dead.
I'm wondering if, instant kill animations for fun, just walking into them and they explode like Earthbound or Persona Show Me Your True Form, rip the mask off, you're dead. What is gonna happen in terms of, like, are we gonna get a Lord Vessel and then teleport to bonfires?
No,
like,
you teleport to them immediately.
Can you currently just teleport everywhere?
Absolutely. As soon as you have 2 of them, you can teleport anywhere.
Oh, shit. Oh, wow. Okay, all right.
Otherwise, fuck traversal in that game.
Because horsing is fun, but at a certain point...
No, it is absolutely mandatory that you have the ability to fucking fast travel everywhere.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Done and done. Quick one from Zach saying, "Hey, best boy Wooly, sexy boy Pat. Quick question, about piercings. Sure. Getting my labret pierced.
I'm glad they're gone from SMT5. I didn't think they were a good use of your strength stat.
Hop. Nothing wrong with pierce damage. I like pierce damage. It's fun.
Yeah, but I don't like that it's a split physical type. Instead, just give me the physical damage.
You just want physical, and then yeah, sure.
Yeah.
How many damage types is too many? You know. I think you get or elements, the nuclear, and then almighty at the end of all of that shit, and you're fine. Mm-hmm. As someone who's thinking about getting my labret pierced, and was it a bad healing job with all the beard here, or was it generally nothing? Hugs and kisses. Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. Even with the beard, getting a piercing on the labret, not a big deal. If you've got one before, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Only thing I would say, the only issue I ever had with any piercing stuff is I never did my ears at the lobe, but I did my ears at the top part, and they both just migrated out, and that has created some bumps on my ear that look symmetrical and intended, but they're not. Like, I have 2 bumps at the top of my ears that are just like a result of the migrating piercing. So that's the only place I'd say be concerned about. Everything else has been totally fine. Not a big deal. Hope that helps. Last little bit. Lore dumps. Lost Planet 2 guy says, playing Prey 2018, really enjoying the setting. Got to the part where you're in the history museum and they casually drop the timeline of why the world is so different. Very little fanfare on this, but it's left up to the player to go check it out. It could be completely missed in theory, but it's a fascinating look into the universe for those that do care. I hear Dread takes an alternate approach to this, vomits lore straight at you, but it somehow also worked. What are your opinions on lore dumps, and what's your favorite kind?
I think the only type of lore dump that I have a problem with is we're going to sit you down for 45 minutes and tell you what the deal is. Big Mama.
We ran out of money. Or, yes, sure, that, yeah.
If you want to see the absolute pinnacle of the worst kind of lore dump that I hate, go watch the Silent Hill movie, where at the 2/3 mark, they realize they don't have enough movie left to explain what's going on, and a character just tells you what the story is for 10 minutes.
Xenogears Disc 2?
Yeah.
I would say that, like, an awesome example would be Doom 2016, where it's there, it happens, and you actively don't care about it in game, in media, you know, but it's enough for you to be like, to get the idea of like where you're going and why. But if you happen to want to hear more, you got that little codec, you got that page of lore that you picked up, but in game you're getting just enough to be motivational. And sometimes it might even be like you go to hell and you get your in the first age, like you get all that shit. It's nice to be like, you can hear this, it's going, but you're still fighting. You can give it as much or as little attention as you want. But I would say currently probably crowning jewel is Disco Elysium, because just having someone be very charismatic and fun to talk to means I don't mind when Joyce sits here and spends 20 minutes telling me about the world.
Yep.
That's the mood Disco brings out of me, you know? That's my favorite because it was the most rewarding, but it has to be quality. It just has to be that good of a world.
Kind of falls apart if Joyce was telling you wasn't interesting. Luckily, it's super interesting.
In fact, it's a fucking reset of your ideas of the setting, and it's fucking magnificent. Or the fact that everyone comes away with such strong opinions of the Communard, but you have that, and it all happens in the span of one conversation, you know? Yeah. So that works out. I'd say that's my favorite. All right. I'd say that's done. Podcast defeated.
Good podcast. I'm going to go play Halo because I'm such a big fan. I've always loved Halo, and I've been saying it forever.
He's been saying it forever.
See?
He's been saying it forever.
Have a good week, everybody.